Know thyself. That's all you get, old target. Keep it straight. It won't be too long.
What is it you're looking to do? You're gonna do that one thing, get that one thing out of the way. If it works, then that's a successful result. What you can do is just get yourself a trademark. You are not getting the limited company at the moment, so you can only be implied. You're either gonna implied or you're gonna be expressed. There's only them two.
Carl, do you want to say, I mean, what we're going to do today? Are you going to, how do you want to run it?
Well, basically, like when I was hearing that conversation there between Laurie and Steve there about the court, going to court and stuff. Why are you going to court is my question.
Well, let me just explain that to you, Carl. I'm going to court because I've got a charge against my property for council tax, which I'm on with. And I also have a CCJ from a few years ago, which I'm not bothered over, from water. But I've dealt with water and they've gone now. But I've still got the CCJ there. And I just wanted to know the process of getting rid of the CCJ. So I've gone onto the Debtless site and used their paperwork to get rid of this CCJ. So I'll go through the process and see if it works. And if it works, then I'll share it with other people, and anybody with a CCJ then can get rid of it.
Okay, so Fabian, do you want to say anything on that? Jackie?
See, I'll just say the problem I'm having, you see, is we're in the trust, so we've been told to stay out of the legals and everything else. And I know the way you're going with your limited company and stuff like that. But once you've got a charge against you with a limited company, you still can't get rid of it, can you? So you're going to have to go.
Okay, so
I mean, I'm not going into court. I'm doing all this via paper. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's just a matter of getting rid of stuff and then it's gone. And then if they come back and attack me, I know how to defend myself now, so I don't get in that position again. You know what I mean?
Can I just ask the question, how is the name being written when they're writing to you?
When who's writing to me?
The courts and summonsing or whatever.
Well, I haven't got a summons or anything, but they're using, I haven't got a summons. This CCJ is from about 3 or 4 years ago.
So how are they writing to you?
I'll tell you.
Thank you.
They're using the Mister.
Okay, so what is it written in all capitals? Is it written in case?
Yeah, all capitals.
Okay, so can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Are you reading that name as English?
I'm not reading that name as being my name anyway. But
no, but I'm just asking you, are you reading in the English language when you read it?
Well, no, I'm reading it as Dog Latin.
Okay, so you're reading it as Dog Latin?
Yeah.
What is Dog Latin?
All capitals.
Yes, but I'm asking you, what language are you reading? Dog Latin isn't a language.
Well, no, well, it's English language, yeah.
Right, so you're reading the English language?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're reading the English language, within the English language, it can only be an acronym. So what does it actually stand for?
No idea.
The implied company, isn't it?
Sorry?
The implied company, isn't it?
No, I'm not going there yet. Hold back on that for a second. Because this is the thing about it. This is the question I'm asking, because these are the questions we should be asking them. So if you're writing or you're reading something in all capital letters, you're actually, and you've just said to me that you're reading it as English.
Yeah.
So you've agreed to read it in English. If you're agreeing to that, then there can only be one pathway we can go down. And that is the pathway of, if you're reading that as English, it can only be written and spoken and seen in the English language as an acronym. So please explain to me each letter of what word each letter is.
Yeah.
That's the question you should be asking them.
Yeah.
Because they can only, and that's the thing about, this is why I asked you the question, are you reading it as English? Because that's the first question we should be asking.
Yeah.
Because if they're saying yes, they are, then we've got them on that alone.
Yeah.
If they're saying no, then please clarify what language you're actually speaking or writing or reading in. This is the question we should be asking them. I'm not putting it forward for us to answer it.
Yeah,
I'm just showing you, Steve, everybody as an example that this is how we should be dealing with things.
Can I have a rebuttal to that, Carl? Sorry, can I have a rebuttal to that? So, all the corporations, British Gas, Lloyds Bank, they're all in capital letters, yeah, and all the names in capital letters. So,
not all of them.
Huh?
Not all of them aren't. I get them writing to me in lowercase letters. Without the Mr. as well sometimes.
No, I think Mike's talking about the company.
Corporation, Lloyds Bank,
right?
Lloyds Bank, British Gas, all the companies, but they're all in all caps. Yeah. Now, if they're in all capital letters, how would we? But if they're writing in all caps, and that's denoting the name of the corporation, the fact that we've now incorporated, yeah, our names are in all caps. So, I mean, would you say that that's not a fair assumption to make?
Yes, certainly. I totally agree. But what to answer that, basically, okay, so we know that British Gas or Electric or whatever company, they're written in capital letters. We know that's an artificial person, but it's a private person. Because they're in the private, because they're limited, because they're private. So we've made ourselves the private in the same status as them.
Yeah.
Not us, ourselves, but we've taken control of a company, like a man or a woman has taken the control of a company of British Gas or whoever company you see. So we're acting as the men and women looking after this limited company. We're just a director, nothing to do with us. If that company goes into mayhem, we can easily collapse that company, liquidate it, and we can still be here as men and women. Yeah. We can go and open up another company if we wanted to. That's the power of having a company and you being the director on behalf of that company.
Yeah.
But you're not the one to be. So if your name's written in capitals, we know that's an artificial corporation.
Right, okay.
Which is basically now it's a private company because British Gas is a private company. But companies can only do business with other companies. So they have to write our name like they have written in Steve Bullen, as if you see on my name, I've written my company. Well, that's my trademark.
Right.
Wood. So I've written that in all capital letters. It's a company. So that, but the thing I'm trying to get to, and the point I'm trying to get to is the first question I asked Steve is, what language are you reading? Or how are you reading that? If Steve would have said to me, I'm seeing that as a company, then, okay, we go down the company path. If he says he sees that as an implied company, we go down the implied company path. If he says he sees that as English, we go down the English path, etc., etc. We give them the decision to make the choice for themselves. I'm just defending myself from you.
Yeah.
You're coming at me like they're coming at Steve with a certain letter, and they're writing to Steve in this name. Now they can only see it in one of four ways. We know that four ways because we've been studying it over the weeks. We know it as an acronym. We know it as the legalese. We know it as a company, or I forgot the last one myself.
Sign language. Sign language.
Sign language. Thank you. So there's the four.
Acronym.
Any one of them four, they choose to use on what language they're using with the language they're writing and whatever sending to us. Then they've only got four options. Each one of them options, no matter what one they choose, they still lose. Full stop. They still lose. End of. Game over. They cannot argue with you because they're trying to have a contract with a capital letter name with no title at the end of it, like limited or PLC or LLP, which describes it as what kind of company it is they're trading with. They're not trading with a company, they're trading with an implied company, which is also written in capital letters, or they're writing as sign language, or they're writing it as an acronym, because they're not stating what they're actually putting it down as? These are the questions we should be asking them, because there's no point. Because for you, Steve, if you go and open up that letter and that's addressed to Steve, whatever, blah, 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 all in capital letters, you're committing mail fraud by doing that, because you're opening somebody else's mail. It's just that you don't know that you're opening somebody else's mail. You're opening mail for an implied company. That's not your company. You don't own that company. Do you see? In my case, I don't own that implied company. I own the private limited company. There it is. So if you can write to me like that, I'm happy to open the letters on behalf of the company and do business on behalf of the company. But I can't do it for the implied company.
Can I just stop you there, Carl? Right. You're your own private limited company.
Sure.
Right? So when you registered that company, you have to register as a person with significant control, haven't you?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Right. So the person with significant control of your limited company, they can still attack that person.
How?
Because it's a person with significant control.
No, but the thing about it, yes, they can't attack the person because the person isn't a company.
No,
they can only attack.
Hang on. A company can't be no. It's got to be a person, an individual person.
Say that again, sorry.
It's got to be an individual person with significant control. A company can't have significant control.
Certainly. Okay, so on that note, you are the person with
I'd like to say something there, Cole. Sorry.
Certainly. Go
ahead. As far as I'm concerned, then, Steve, my understanding there is, yes, I take your point.
Yeah.
That if a corporation has a liability, okay, then the person with significant control has to exercise the actions on behalf of the corporation, yeah? And that's why the person with significant control, I mean, that's my understanding. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can go after that individual because the company has limited liability and the person has limited liability through the corporation. So if you have, you said no.
No. The person with significant control holds 100% liability.
Totally.
So if Carl has his company, as Carl whatever name, limited, when he registers that company, he has to put it on a register, people with significant control register.
Yes.
As an individual.
Yes.
I mean, that does in Companies House, that does. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. Now, that has to be an individual person. What I'm saying is once you've set this limited company up, they can attack that limit. They can attack whoever set that company up as a person with significant control.
Totally agree. But can I
What about the director then?
Can I just interject a question there?
Yeah.
How many people does it take to start and run a limited company?
One.
No, it doesn't. It takes 3. You need 3 people to let a limited company trade. They won't allow you to trade with one person. You can't trade with one person. 3 people have to be registered in as directors, an accountant and a lawyer, whoever. 3 people have to register and start a company. You can't, you can go as a sole trader, but that's not a limited company.
Oh, it's not, no.
So it's a limited company. It's only be set up by 3 people. So then 3 people have to be persons with significant control.
No.
You can't go up. You can't. You can. Them 3 people can be people of significant control. You can't.
Only, hang on.
You can only be. So the thing about what I'm trying to get to in that respect is the limited company. Cool cat, Dave. The limited company is written in capital letters. Now, a limited company, let's just talk it as a company. A company and contract law. A company and a company can only do contracts with one another.
Correct.
Right. So what you're doing, you're buying the claim to a name to be a limited company. As a man, you're buying the name. So that now is a limited company.
Yeah.
You didn't know that could happen before. But now you do. You now can see that they're trading, a limited company or a British Gas as a company is trading with another company. Do you see? They can't go after a man or a woman. If they're going after a man or a woman, it has to be another man or a woman, like a director of that company going after the director of this company. A man and a man or a man and a woman can have a contract together or agreement. Yeah, 2 companies can but you can never have a mixture of the two. That's in contract law.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to get to is that how, yes, you may be the person of significant control, but you're the individual private person, so-called. So
Yeah,
what we're doing there,
that's a person with significant control.
there you go. So their company will have a person with significant control as well.
Correct.
But that might be John Sparrow, for example. And person with significant control for my company may be Fabian.
Yeah.
So Fabian might be the director of my company. I don't even have to be in my company. It's just the name. That's it.
No, you're wrong.
It's just the name you're buying the company as. You can go and buy you can go and buy a company called Candy Crush.
Yeah.
Right. So then the Candy Crush will be Candy Crush Limited. You as Steve would be the person with significant control of Candy Crush because that's your company and that's what you're going to be trading in, whatever you're going to be trading in. In my example, Hornseywood is just a trademark name for me. So I'm going to be trading as Hornseywood as a film company because that's what I do. I do film, music and dance.
Yeah.
So that's Hornseywood. But behind that is myself, Carmichael. So that Carmichael, here's the difference.
Person with significant control.
But the thing about it, you've got to look at it. The man who's in significant control is Carmichael. That's the Christian name.
Right.
The company name I'm taking hold of is the legal name, which is one Christian name, a surname put together, which is put on our birth certificate. That's a legal name.
Yeah.
You don't have to use a legal name.
No, you can use
A
any.
surname is an epithet. In the etymology dictionary, is something that's added to another name. So if we're saying we start with the Christian name, and my name's Carmichael, then Carmichael is the person with significant control. They can't go after that person because that isn't a legal name. They need a legal name to attach to. That's why the police ask you for your name, your surname, your date of birth. They need 3 different and your address, 3 pieces of information for you.
You're not understanding what I'm saying, Carl.
Okay,
What I'll do, I'll ask Leslie to send you a copy of this. Right, it's called the PSC regime.
Right.
Have a read through it and you'll understand it.
But give me your explanation and understanding of it.
Well, what it is, you're registering a limited company, yeah?
Sure.
And then you think you're safe from everything because that limited company is dormant and they can only come after the limited company. Right. When you register that limited company needs to have in the background of who set it up, a person with significant control, right? So who set that company up? So in your case, it were you.
Right. So
hang on. So if there's 3 people in that company, yeah, and you'll have equal shares, then you've got 3 people with as significant control. But if you have more shares than than the other 2, you're the person with significant control. And anybody coming after that limited company can come after you personally.
Sure. I totally agree with what you're saying there. I totally agree with you.
As the person with limited control.
But my question to you, Steve, is this. How is the company trading for somebody to come after it if you're not going to make it trade?
Well, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying...
No. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the thing about it, you're speaking about the PSC and the regime and everything else, but you've got to take into consideration, you're looking at the fact of something that's an illusion. And I don't mean that disrespectfully because you're going with the thought of, well, what if that happens? What if this happens? No, what is happening is the company's not trading. So first of all, nobody can come after the limited company because there is no contract with anybody. So what you're speaking is true, I agree with, but it's hypothetical at the point we're in at the moment because the company isn't trading with anyone and there's no contract. So nobody can come after you. Do you see where I'm going with it? And I'm living in the now. My company's not trading. It hasn't been traded for 6 years. Nobody's come after me as a limited company. Full stop. So it doesn't matter if I am the director. I'm taking full liability and responsibility for my own name. So no one can come after that name unless I give them consent to. Now, if the company's dormant and that limited company isn't trading, no other limited company can do, or implied company can do contracts with it unless I say so as a director.
Yeah,
So I'm not going to let the director allow the company to slip into that position. So I totally agree with what you're saying. I totally agree with what you're saying. But we're on the other side of the fence. You're looking at it from the perspective as where you're saying, okay, what if this happens because I've done this?
Yeah.
We're on that side of the fence where we're saying, hold up, we've done this. We've reset the clock. No one's coming after you now. Done. That's it. That's all you need to think about. It will go silent. As everybody would tell you, it will go silent for you. It will go quiet because nobody is looking up for you as the limited company. They're looking for you as the implied company, which is no limited at the end of the name. The only people who can write to you is Companies House and HMRC in the beginning. Yeah. But as soon as you send back the unique tax reference number and make that dormant for HMRC, HMRC won't write to you no more. The only person who can write to you is Companies House, because that's the only person you as a man has a contract with a company that is set in England and Wales to buy companies that can go and float in maritime and admiralty seas to do business like United Kingdom. But if you choose not to, your boat can stay docked. And you don't have to go out and travel into the waters to actually do business with other corporations. No, let the corporations do business. If you want to walk around on the land, and as I stated, if I want to send my ship out, I can still walk around on the land and I can make Fabian or Brian or Michael or Nick or Leslie the captain of my ship and go out and do business for me. Yeah. They're the ones who's in control of the ship. They're the captain. Yeah. That's all to see. But at the moment, there's no business taking place. So nobody will ever come after you because there's no contract with the limited company.
Carl, just to cut you there. So in Steve's condition, in Steve's situation that he's in now, where he says that, who's after you, Steve?
The CCJ.
It's got a seat. So if he went limited now, what would actually happen to his CCJ and all the other people that are actually after him?
Well, the thing about it, if he went limited now, the thing about it, he doesn't own the implied company. Steve, you're taking responsibility and liability for something that you don't actually own. Remember, it's an implied company that you are actually taking the responsibility and liability for. You don't own that company, so anybody can jump on your ship and rob it as pirates. That's what the game is. Yeah. Once you take back your limited company, you pulling that into the docks it up. Somebody stands on the gate and says, right, nobody's coming in here, says Steve, until Steve says so. At the moment, everybody's just jumping on because you're an implied company. They can do that to you because that's where they pulled the wool over our eyes to say, right, companies can only do business with companies. So we have to make the men and women in companies.
Yeah, I've already shut the water board down, but that doesn't get rid of the CCJ.
Of course it does. Of course it does. Because I'll give you an example. There's a friend of mine, his name's Orville, and he had the same similar thing. He had £10,000 debt with the HMRC.
Yeah.
Now, if he had a £10,000 debt with HMRC, he wouldn't be able to go and kind of like buy himself and then get a unique tax reference number. I said to him, look, go and buy yourself. Went and bought himself. 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, 5 months later, 2 years later, he still hasn't received anything from HMRC about the 10 grand debt. It's gone because he didn't own that implied company. You haven't stepped forward to take responsibility and liability for that name yet. Once you claim the name and you take responsibility for it and liability for every action it's doing, then they'll see you as yes, but you don't have to trade the company. Because remember, it's a company they're looking for. They're not looking for a man or a woman. The man, I think Caroline and somebody else had a letter come to them and it was written in uppercase and lowercase to the limited company. And I think it was Caroline. Caroline, did you want to ever say that?
I have had letters like that, but as you were saying, even with the tax situation, I had a tax bill for 7 grand, and last year I've not heard anything from them. They were going to take me to court last time I heard. It's disappeared. Since I bought myself, it's disappeared because obviously I didn't have a contract with them. So, and I think that I don't know if I'm right, but I'm thinking with the PSC, the reason why they've got person of significant interest in everything that has to do with us is because everybody's jumping on our boat, as you say. So everybody's got some kind of interest in our name because we haven't taken it, and that's where the personal significant interest comes. Am I right?
Yeah. Once you claim the name,
Yeah.
once you claim the name, you've taken interest in the name, so you've claimed it.
Nobody can't have personal.
No one can, because
Yeah.
it's private limited. So when you go and look at the definitions of the word person, and we look at the 5 different definitions, that's why I'm always saying about you've got the man, you've got the human, you've got the artificial person, the natural, which is 2 definitions, and then you've got the private. We become the private because remember, the private is an individual not incumbent to any office. United Kingdom is an office because it's a limited company. The only office I hold is the office of Carmichael Limited. That's the only office I hold. And that's under a company. So I'm safe under a company because that company has its own laws. It can apply to United Kingdom if it wants to go and do business with United Kingdom. That's why you can get a business passport for your company, and you can be a traveler on that business passport. Anybody can be a traveler on the business passport. But the thing about it, what I'm trying to get to amongst all of that is the language is so important. If they can't explain what the capital letter word they're using is and what language it is, game over. I don't want to go no further than that. That's the first question I'm asking. What language are you using? Now, if anybody can tell me out of this whole group what language is written as Hornsey would there, that's the first question I'm asking. What language are you reading when you read Hornsey Wood?
Corporate fiction.
Okay.
How have you written it?
No, I'm just asking you, how are you reading it? What language are you reading it as?
You would normally be reading it as English.
Right. No, but what are you reading it as?
Well, if it depends how it's been spelled.
Okay, what does it say?
Hornsey Wood.
Right, so you've just read it as English.
Exactly.
You just answered your own question.
But it's in all caps.
I'm not talking about how it's written. I just asked you, what did it say? You said it was written in, you said it Hornsey Wood.
Yeah.
So you said it as the English language. You've read it as English.
That's correct.
So it can only be English.
Yeah.
Right. So if it's English, it's an acronym. What does it mean?
Game over. Then you can't read it then.
Game over. Why do I want to go?
I don't know what each letter means.
Yeah, but why do I want to go further than why do I want to go further than that one question? If you can't answer that question, how can we go far past that?
Can't.
There you go. Game over. We've won. Full stop.
Because they haven't, as you said.
I'm not asking you to answer the question for them. I'm just showing a scenario that you are the government talking to me. That's the scenario. Nikki is the parking attendant or the CCJ officer. And I'm saying to Nikki, look, Nikki, what does that say? You said Hornsey Wood. I said, you're reading it as English, yeah? You said, yeah. I said, okay, if you're reading it as English, Mr. CCJ, man, that can only be an acronym within the English language. So please explain what each word, each letter means.
That's like AWOL, right? That's what you're trying to give an example.
That's what an acronym is.
Yeah, AWOL.
But, but the point I'm making, and it's such a slippery point, is if you're reading that as English, it can only be an acronym. Full stop. If you get the man to say anything written down on a piece of paper in capital letter words, and you get the man to say it, remember, if he says it, he has to be saying in the English language, because you can't be saying it in sign language because sign language is mute. If he was reading it as sign language, he would do this. HORNS. Just he would finger spell it to me. This is important. The language is so important. That's the first initial point. They need to get past that first before we even talk about legal stuff, before we even talk about writing letters of whatever or having conversations of whatever. If you want to step to me and come to my door and you've got a piece of paper and it says Carmichael on it and it's all capital letters, I'm going to ask you, what does that say? If you say that, then I can only hear that as English because I speak English. I don't speak any other language. Sorry. I speak English. I don't speak French. I speak Yardi, Wagwa people, all of this. You know what I mean? I can speak a bit of Patois, but you know what I mean? I'm English. I was born in England, man. That's my first tongue language. I'm mixed race. Yes, my mother was white. My dad was black. My mom was from Yorkshire. My dad's from Jamaica. But I speak the English language. If you write something down on a piece of paper, no matter how you write it, I'm still going to read it as the English language. It's my understanding and my interpretation on how I see that. What is that I am reading? Now I've done the study and understood what I'm reading. I'm sharing that knowledge. It's an acronym. In the dictionary of magic, an acronym states that it's it has symbolic meanings. That's the dictionary of magic. It has acronym in there. The book's that thick. How many other words are going to be in there that we use day to day that's going to be an illusion? That's my question. In the Chicago Manual of Style, section 11.147 states that it's a glossa. Section 11.149 states that it's finger spelling. You see the word Hornsey Wood? That's finger spelling. It cannot be spoken. It's a mute language. It's silent. Newhart's Rules, Oxford Style Guide, states that an acronym, there's 3 different abbreviations, an abbreviation, an acronym, and a contraction. Contractions and acronyms are symbols. They're not words, they're symbols. That's in Newhart's Rules. This is the Oxford English Style Guide. I've done my research, bro, and sisters. This is all I can look for. This is all I can see. I can destroy the birth notification form that we've been speaking about because they write the name forename. Forename isn't even listed in the Black's Law Dictionary anywhere. They put it down as a praenomen and they spell it PRZ. They don't even spell it correctly. So they're throwing us off guard in the Law Dictionary as well. Forename is not even listed as a word anywhere in capital letters. And that's on the birth notification form. That's documents destroyed already. So this is what I'm trying to get to. The language. We all speak English. If you're fooling me with the English language and you can't even answer me that one question, what language are you reading? What language are you actually speaking to me, man? I'm not speaking Latin. For out thou speak though yo Shakespeare in yo face. Do you know what I mean? I'm not, man. I'm just like any other you guys. I'm just like you guys. I'm doing my research like you guys are doing your research. We've all put our research into different areas and departments in our own mindset. Yes. But the thing about it, when we're looking at one side of the fence and we're stuck in that, we have to take ourselves out of that.
Carl, can I ask a question then?
Certainly, certainly.
So if you're, in a sense, if you're challenging a letter that's come to you and it's in all caps, yeah, and then they say to you, oh yeah, but that's your name. And now what would you say to that?
That's my company name. But it seems like you've made a mistake because you've left the limited off the end.
Right, okay.
What company are you writing to? Are you writing to a LLP? Are you writing to a PLC? Are you writing to a limited company? What one? Because I can't open a letter because I don't know which one you're referring to. Mm-hmm. There might be another company out there as a PLC company. I don't know. But in Graham's position, we know that once somebody bought their name, nobody else can take it unless you go and ask that other company for permission.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so
yeah, that makes sense.
It depends on how we perceive things as individuals.
Carl, I really get what you're saying, and it really does make sense. But the one thing I'm struggling with is you draw a line in the sand today and you buy the name, and going forward you're dormant and you defend that vehicle from all attack because it's a company and you have no contract. But what happens, what I don't understand is why previous judgments, what have you, that occurred on the implied company before you bought the name. Why does buying the name knock out anybody being able to enforce previous contracts with the implied name? I don't understand that.
Anybody want to say anything? Okay, so
I'm with Leslie.
Not because it was just that, because it was implied. And
Yeah.
now you're expressing the corporation, right, with the limited. That then, in a sense, supersedes or trumps anything that was created before. Is that right, Carl?
yeah, look at it like that again, as Michael's saying. The thing about it, when you're an implied company, as Steve had pointed out, that there's persons with significant control. So anybody can be in control of that. That's why the bailiffs can come for you. That's why the parking people can come for you. That's why this person can come for you, because they're all saying, right, yeah, there's an implied company there, blah, blah, blah. We're going to take the money, whatever. Once you take the limited company, you're saying to the company, now remember, you've got to switch your perception and you've got to switch your stance, because now you are the king. You've gone from pawn to king in an instant. Now nobody can get to you until they get through the front door. Now you're the security of your company. You're the accountant of you're everybody of your company. You're the director. Now, is there a director that's going to stand up and hold full liability and full responsibility in British Gas? No, they're not. No director is going to, because they know that they're not selling gas. So they don't want to be held responsible when the axe comes down. I'm taking full liability and responsibility for my name. Done. That's it. No one can have anything to do with that name.
But what about contracts you may have entered into as an implied company?
No, but that was under non-disclosure, because they didn't disclose to me that I was an implied company. I'm running around as an implied company doing business. Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I'm doing that. You haven't told me that I was in. When you go to the bank, they don't tell you that they've given you an account number. They've put on your bank card a capital letter name, which is a company name. They don't tell you that.
Yeah.
They don't tell you that it's a retail account, and a retail means business. So you're doing business. It's your business account, man. Do you see, you're doing business without even knowing that you are the business. Remember, we are the substance. We are the creation of what we create. If you go and create something, write it down as a pattern, they're sure going to go and take that pattern and use it. Because you are registered under the UK that anything you create belongs to them. If I create anything now and I'm under Carmichael and that goes into my list, you can't touch it. Sorry.
Okay.
That's a list of my company.
But
Remember,
go on.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry. I was just going to say, but take a mortgage as an example, or a loan, or what have you. You've entered into it as an implied company. You may not have known that's what you were doing, but you've still entered into a contract. So they want to enforce that contract.
But where did they get that money from in the first place?
Can I just say though, but I think it's more accurate to say that the name that we have, the legal fiction, it's not a corporation, it's a trust.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And it's a trust, and because it's a trust, there's a trust relationship. People do not need to know that they're in a trust, but you are in a. So I'm in a constructive trust, but you're not going to know that you're in that trust. But if you step up as a trustee, in other words, if they create joinder as a trustee, you're then subject to other acts and legislation, which then means that you are responsible for that name because you've created joinder, and that's the issue that we have. So if they were to say to you, oh, hang on, but we see that you've got a contract between, well, sorry, but it's not a contract, it's an agreement between you and, I don't know, ABC Mortgage Company. Carl has mentioned this before. Who was that contract with? And they're going to say it was with you. No, it wasn't, because you can't contract with me because I'm a living person. So who did you contract with? Oh, okay, so we contracted with the name. And what's that name? It's the name of a trust. Now, because I wasn't told, I don't think that you can actually say, oh, well, that had nothing to do with me, because you don't need to know. Does that make sense?
No. Run that last bit again.
What he's trying to say there is basically, you've basically been created as a trust.
Yeah.
Now the system is fiduciary, whatever it is. Yeah.
Fiduciary. Yeah.
Thank you, Michael. Now the thing about it, if we're running round as a trust, now everything we do, our signature is so important. When we sign, as we know, that gets sent wherever. That gives them access to this so-called treasury account. Yeah. So they can do that. Now, once you take back the limited company, you can then, you're the owner of that. So it's like okay. The scenario of one woman, she's on here, Caroline. Well, I'll say Caroline, basically. Caroline, do you want to say about your mortgage stuff?
Say what about it, basically?
Basically about what's happening. And
I think I've told most people know that I've got a few mortgages, and one company is taking the money out every month and putting it back in every month on the same day. So basically, they can't get to it. It's not. I haven't cancelled the direct debit or anything, but they're taking it out and they're putting it back in because clearly they know they've got no contract with me. Another few companies have said to me I should probably go to a different provider to get a better rate than what they can offer me. So they know it's a hot potato. They want to get rid of me. So they're trying to say to me, go elsewhere. And another company is just not taking it, period. So it's like I've got a hot potato. Every which way they go, they can't do anything. They can't take it legally. But don't get me wrong, some of them are still taking the money out of the accounts. I'm not sure what we're going to do about that or how far that's going to go. But the company that's taking it out and putting it in, it's been like that for the last 6 months. And they've not written to me at all. So why haven't they written to me in 6 months if they keep taking it out and putting it back in?
The thing about it, again, they have to balance their books. So they have to be seen to take it back out to balance their books. Then they can put it back again. Because the thing about it, that money had to come from somewhere. So if we know that, okay, a lot of the talk goes round about, with the registration date, and they take the birth certificate, they go to the treasury account with the registration date, blah, 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 take the money out, blah, blah, blah. So for example, if you know that from the day you was born, you had a treasury account, and that has been building interest over all of our lives, up to me for now 50 years, for example. Now, if I go to the bank like Caroline did, and I take out $1 million, for example, I'm not saying that she did that, but say I take out $1 million or 5 million, let's say 5 million to buy a house, whatever. Now, the bank went into my treasury account and took that money. Yeah. The thing about it, I went and bought my name, and I bought the name. I closed that account. So every time they take money out of my implied company bank account to pay that debt, the bank can't put it back into the treasury account because I've locked it. Nothing can go in and out of there. The problem they have is that when Caroline goes back one day and says, look, here, I'm the legal owner, and I'm here to what I'm granted by the Queen. Here's my title deed. When they go and check that account and they see that it's down by this amount, we can log that track back to say who took the money out. They're in trouble because they was taking out the money out of a woman's account from birth as an implied company and messing around with that. But now that woman's come back and she's the title deed, the key's been locked, but there's money missing. Where's the money gone? So they've got the hot potato. So they're trying to sell the contract now because they don't want to be the ones to be held with the hot potato in the hand when Caroline comes back and says, yo, where's my money? Because who took it? And where did it go? It went to her to pay for her house. Why is she paying for her house if her house could have just been signed off for? It's a lot of head mash, and there's a lot of things around it. But I mean, all I can say is we have to keep going back, right back to the beginning of who are they actually doing business with? There's a name there in capital letters. We can all see that. But what is that? That's my question. Before I go any further, we can have all this talk after we've discussed this one point. What language are you using? Because if you're telling me you use English, all these acronyms and all these, or sign language or legalese or whatever, there's 2 different or 3 different languages on the document from courts or parking people or whatever. There's 2 different languages. That's 2 different jurisdictions of language on the same document. That document's null and void straight away. Romilly Stewart would tell you that. So you can't have capital letter words on the same document with descriptive text, English descriptive text. It's 2 different jurisdictions of language, unless you're seeing the capital letter word as an acronym. So what does it stand for? Game over. We don't need to go no further than that. They lose hands down. Any answer they give you, they lose. And that's not being cocky. That's just being 30 years of trying to discover what's going on. And this is the conclusion I've come to. And none of us here can answer that question. If that you're reading that as English, what does it stand for? I don't even know what it stands for. And I created the motherfucker thing. Sorry for the language.
Carl.
Yes.
So technically, with the lower capital letters, with the lower capital, letters.
Lowercase.
If that is superseded by the Mr., technically we should still not be opening that letter. So depends. Mr. Fabian.
Go on.
Mr. Fabian, capital F, small a, small b, small I, small a, small n, so on.
You just answered
technically, we shouldn't open that letter. The fact that it's got Mr. on it.
So Mr. Fabian,
even though it's got small. Why?
So there you go. So automatically you're using a legal name. So they can put Mr. on there because they're stating it as a legal name. Right. One Christian name, one surname put together is a legal name. They need a legal name to do business with.
Despite whether it's capitalized or not.
Doesn't matter.
Right. Okay.
You can just have Fabian. That's it.
Because I'm never. No one's ever really going to get a letter. I mean, in their system, that's just going to have your Christian name, so to speak. So what are you worried for? It's always going to be the legalized. Sorry.
So what are you worried for?
I'm not. I'm just saying.
There you go. We're never going to get a letter like that. We're never going to get a letter like that because we're not in their system. We're always going to get a letter addressed to the limited company, whether it's written in uppercase and lowercase or full capital letters. If it's written in full capital letters, it's going to come from Companies House. If it's written in uppercase and lowercase as a limited company, it's going to be written from a different company trying to do contracts with you. Caroline, can you just explain what letter you got?
I got quite a few letters. Or you mean uppercase, lowercase letters?
Yeah, to the limited company, the one we discussed.
The advert, they're trying to contract. There's like, do I want a credit card or something like that? It's an invitation. That's it. It's an invitation.
It's just an invitation.
With the limited on the end, Caroline? With the limited on the end?
I've had it with the limited
in small.
Yeah, uppercase, lowercase with limited on the end. It's an invitation. If it was all capitals with a limited, I know it's coming from Companies House.
No, I get that. I get that.
Caroline?
Yeah.
The mortgage that you have, they take the money out and put it back in.
Yeah.
Is the capital coming down or not?
Well, do you know, that's a good point, actually. I haven't checked that, but I don't see how it can be because it's just not been paid for the last 6 months. So that's a good point. I didn't think.
And I'm just wondering, if it's not coming down, when you come to sell that property, then that's where do we stand then? When you
standing.
I think before I go to sell that property, I would actually be writing to them to ask them if I have a contract with them. Yeah. And ask them to answer all the questions before I go to sell it. And if they can't. See, the thing is, I don't want to make contact with them because I'd have to make contact as a limited person. And I know I haven't got contract with them. If I make contract in the legal name, then it's like I'm getting joinder with them. So that's why at the moment I'm ignoring it until I understand how to say to them, I want back all the monies that I've paid out.
I have another question is, when you got that mortgage, obviously you put it in, you use the name Caroline, whatever your last name is, so it's in that name. Now, it's on the land registry in that name, isn't it?
Yeah.
right? So what's stopping the council or anybody going and putting a charge on at Land Registry?
Well, to be honest, the council have been writing to me in the limited company. They're writing to me in the uppercase, lowercase, care of Caroline Limited. Well, I haven't got a contract with the council, so I just send the letters back. And they've done nothing about it. They've not contacted me. But secondly, I've also applied to put all the properties in my limited name.
Right. That was my next question. Yeah.
Yeah. They're taking forever to do that. And I spoke to them yesterday and asked them why they're taking so long. Put it on pause. Tell them I'm calling back. I've asked them why they're taking so long. They're just saying it's they've got a backlog.
Who's putting the stuff in the limited name?
A Land Registry.
Oh, Land Registry.
Yeah, yeah.
So they will put it in the limited name.
Well, they've not said no so far, and they've had my paperwork 6 weeks.
Yeah, that was the question we're going to say. How do you go on at Land Registry, registering the limited company? Because you'll have to put the property in the limited company name to protect it. Limited company, because you'll have to put the property in the limited company name to protect it.
Well, I had it in the trust name before. I think I told you guys I had it in the trust name before. And somebody tried to put a charge on my property, but they couldn't because it was in the trust. So now I'm now moving it into the limited company to see what happens next.
Yeah, let us know what happens with that, Caroline.
Yeah, no, I'm waiting.
Caroline, are you not happy with it in the trust?
I just think it might be more secure. I'm
in the limited company?
Yeah, I'm thinking so. I think it might be more secure. And I'm wondering why they're taking so long to actually get around to doing it. But I'll know in about the next 3 weeks. They've had it 5 weeks already.
Well, they're taking the time because it takes it out of their hands.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Company name.
Yeah.
No claim on it, have they?
That's what I'm thinking because
and nor have the treasury account. They've no claim. No, none of them have.
Yeah, within the first 4 days, they actually wrote back to me after getting the letter just to say to me that I'd made a correction and I hadn't initialed it. That was in 4 days. And now I've been waiting 5 weeks for a further response. I sent the letter back straight away and it's taken now 5 weeks and they're not getting back to me. So I think the fact that I'm putting it in the limited company is a problem to them. And
it might be just a process. That's all. It might some process take quite a while, actually.
Might be. It could well be. We'll see.
Caroline, I spoke to Land Registry of Scotland last week because of what I'm going through with my family. And they're basically saying that they've got a 3-month backlog because of the stuff. So I don't know if maybe that's also having an effect on the English Land Registry.
It probably will do. Probably will do.
Yeah, okay.
Well, do you know if you put assets into the limited company, are you going to have accounts and so on at the end of the year and statements because you're showing assets in the corporation that you've acquired?
No, I would no. I mean, like the thing about it, all you're doing, you're pulling your assets together, because at the moment your assets are everywhere. You ain't got any of them. So you've got to go and pull in. You've got to go and pull in your national insurance number. You've got to go and pull in your bank account.
The point I'm making is, Carl, that it's now the corporation is a separate legal entity. Okay,
sure.
And that legal entity is going to have acquired assets.
Yes.
As far as
that's the company's own capital and own assets. If you're not doing business, you're not trading.
Well, yeah, but don't assets go on the accounts?
Yeah,
no, but that's your own asset. It's like me saying, okay, I want to take my bank account and I want to go and change it to Lloyd's, for example. I'm going to take all my money out of, say, Barclays or Santander or wherever, take all my money out of there and go and open up Lloyd's account. I'm just bringing my assets. I'm not going to be charged on bringing my assets into that account.
You're not going to be charged on it, but you need to show it at the end of the financial year, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, of course, but they're your assets. You'll have the title deeds, you'll have whatever. This is what I'm saying to everybody. Go after your title deeds, like for the manufacturing certificate of origin for your car, your title deed for your property and things like that. These are the third things we should have in order to say, okay, these are all my assets. So it's like, as Nicky said, when he had a chat with Mr. I think it was, go and collect all your assets and get all your assets together. Do you see? Because we've been working and operating as an implied company. How many different contracts goes back now to the implied company, to back on this side of the fence, to say, right, how many different contracts have we created as that implied company? Do we need to go and get them ones, or are them ones just false or whatever? We have to decide which ones are real and which ones are not. So going to the limited company, the ones what I've spent out for, like my house or my car or my bike or whatever, I'm going to bring them in.
I'm sorry, but I'm losing track of my initial question. But yes, I know exactly what you're saying. But ultimately, what I'm trying to ask is, when you need to send statements and accounts and whatever for companies' house purposes, you're going to have to send them something, and you're going to have to include any assets that you've acquired in that year.
Yes, but that's only, again, that's only if you're going to trade. All you're doing as a dormant company, you're allowed to store things as a storage box for you. That's your dormant company. That's what dormant company is for. I'm bringing in all my stuff just to store it. That's the dormant company. If I choose to use that assets in that company to trade with, I can do. So it's up to me to go and trade.
Correct.
If I want to or not.
Correct. But all I'm saying is that as far as companies' house are concerned, if they're going to be asking for the accounts on the corporation that you've got, if someone's acquired assets, they have to go on the accounts. If that company doesn't trade, but they've acquired assets, they have to create accounts showing the acquisition of those assets, although they haven't traded. And that's the only question I've got. So if that's the case, then if Caroline's going to be adding these houses or the properties into the corporation, but then she'll have to do the accounts, will she? I mean, that's a question I've got, so I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
No, that's good question again. But the thing about it, that's why the thing about it, if you're not trading, the HMRC doesn't have to get involved. That's the only problem.
Yeah,
you're not trading to create any finance to give any tax. You see, that's why
Michael.
You don't need a unique tax reference number to gather your assets because you're not trading.
Carl, what would be the limit on a company receiving a gift? Like the limit for a implied person would be like, I don't know, £3,000 or something.
No, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure on that. But where I'm coming from, and kind of like in the same stance as both of you actually, is if they're your assets, it's not really a gift. You're not giving a gift to yourself. You've acquired them over your life. So they're yours. Basically, you've just realized that you've been running around as an implied company all your life. Now you've realized that, wow, I'm not even in control of this stuff. I'm going to put it in something that I can be in control of. That's why people create trusts. I have a problem with trust, but I won't go there. But yeah, putting it into the limited company, you're saying that has been acquired by limited. Whether it's himself, it's Carmichael himself, but it's the name because everything has to be done legally in their system.
And legally, you would change the title name to Carl Limited on every asset.
Well, yes, legally, you wouldn't have to change everything. You just say, right, this is going to. Okay, let's go back. I'm going to come back. I'm going to go to that point, but I just want to jump back to the passport for a second, because if we write a letter as the director from ourselves, our own company, to go and get a business passport, then it's the same thing that we're writing a letter from like the implied company, and we're shifting it from the implied company into the limited company. So you're writing a director as yourself saying, yeah, I'm going to put this house into limited, and you're signing it at the bottom. You're just signing. It's like the passport. You're signing it on behalf of yourself. So it's like your assets, you're signing it on behalf of yourself. So if you own the asset already and you write down a letter to say that it's like Fabian said, gifting it over, you're writing a letter to gift it over to yourself, basically, your director's permission. I'm the person with significant control in implied company. But now I've bought the limited company, that implied company is saying, and because I was in that person with significant control in the implied company, I'm being a director of that and giving my signature, not my autograph, my signature. Because when I'm signing on behalf of the limited company, I'm giving my autograph and I'm signing as authorized agent. When I'm signing on that part of the system, I'm signing a signature, but being as but on behalf of. So you always write that by association. I'm signing by association on the signature. I'm writing it as authorized agent, as the autograph under the limited company, because the limited company is allowing me to do business for that company, for that name. It's the same thing about what that guy did with the plumbing company. He is the director of the plumbing company. So he wants all of his staff members to have the, or they don't work there. But he's taking on the responsibility. If any of them people get sick, they're going to him. He can't run to the government. He can't run to whoever, because he made the deal to say with whoever company to say, yeah, to give it to his whoever. So he's using his staff members as guinea pigs. The same thing I wrote up the other day. If people approach me, I'm saying, well, my company doesn't allow me to wear a mask.
Going back to Steve's original question then, and with regards to the examples you use with Orville and the Caroline, Carl, so should Steve buy himself, then basically his problems will go away, including that charge. That's good. Yes. That's effectively what he wants to know. Totally. Is that charge going to be?
Totally. Because the thing about it, I mean, like, you are not responsible and you are not fully liable for the name you are holding at the moment, because it's not, there's nobody there claiming to be that name. You're just standing up and saying, yeah, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me all the time. You don't need to.
No, I understand that, but it's from Steve's point of view, there's a charge being put on. So long as he doesn't put his hand up.
But who's the charge on? That's the question. That's why I'm asking, what was the letter?
Effectively, it's going to be on. Effectively, it's on the property. It's all equity.
No,
at
but
the end of the day.
No, but the thing about they're writing to Steve in uppercase.
Yes,
So
I get
they're
that.
right- so
I'm
they're
totally with you on
right-
that. For me,
Go on.
For me, the buck stops with the language. I get that, Carl. For me, absolutely, the buck stops with the language. But that aside, the charge is on the property.
Right, no, but
on his property.
Yes, but what I'm saying to you, that's what I'm saying to you. It can't be charged on the property. It has to be charged to an implied company or a limited company. It can't. Somebody.
No, Carl. The charge is on the property.
Hang on.
So whatever happens is, with that property, they've got to take out the equity that they believe is owed to them, rightly or wrongly. They will take out, and that will leave Steve in X amount less this.
Can I just explain here, Fabian? Give me a minute. Right, the charge is on the land, not on the property. Yeah? They can't come after the property. When they put a charge on, not land registry, it's on the land and not the property. Yeah?
Right.
So it's the land.
Who owns the land?
I own the land.
Do you hold the title deed?
I own everything.
Right. So make the title deed into the limited company.
Yeah, hang on. Yeah, that's all right. Not a problem. I can do that. But then the charge is still at the land registry. Right? And they do this all behind our backs, because they will then go after. They will use the land registry.
So what name is down on the land registry? What name is down on the land registry?
Well, it's in my name at the land
Right,
registry.
so that would be an all capital letter name.
Yeah.
Right, so that's the implied company.
Yeah, I understand.
So anybody can jump in there and steal it, because everybody's a person with significant control.
This is what they're doing. They're stealing it behind their backs, aren't they?
But that's what I'm talking about. So
so what I'm saying, to stop that, I'd have to, before we get to a position where I'm in, this is for everybody else on here. I mean, I can sort that. What's going on with me in the background, I can sort out. I'm not bothered over the charge. But what I'm saying is, once I've got that charge off, I need to then put this or put the property in the name of the limited company, and then it's safe then. But if I do it at this stage now, the charge is still going to be on there. And the council will use that to come after the land behind my back. And the limited company isn't going to stop that.
Of course, no. The thing about it, they know that the limited company is in possession. Somebody has possession of it now.
Yeah.
Right. You will be the only person in possession with it. Nobody could touch it. That's your right.
Well, I understand that, but they don't see it like that.
No. You don't care how they see it. Don't care how they see it.
No,
right. So
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. The thing about, once you sign it over to yourself and it's in the limited company that you own, then no one can do anything because they don't have a contract with you to come and do anything on that land.
But you can't sign it over. How can you sign it over?
Okay, so they're right. So this is where I come back to the question about your name being written in the first place, because they can't write to the limited company because there's no contracts. So as soon as you establish that you are the limited company and the limited company is a private individual as yourself, there's no contract with any other company, no councils, no United Kingdom, no nothing.
Yeah, I understand all that.
Right, so no one can approach you because they can't write to you.
They've already done that, though, haven't they?
No, but they're writing to the implied company.
Yeah, but the house is in the name of the implied company in the beginning.
No, but what I'm saying to you, listen to what I'm saying to you. They can't do nothing because when they're writing to you as the implied company, you're sending the letters back.
Right.
Right. Now, if they write to you as Steve Limited, for example, then you know that there's a contract with them.
Yeah.
That's all you care about.
Right.
Right. So if there's no limited company contract between two limited companies or whoever, then there's no worry. You'll win all day in court.
Yeah,
because there's no contract between the two limited companies. And there has to be a contract.
That's all right. But what I'm saying is the property is still got a charge on it before it goes in the limited company name. And if I want to move this property while it's got a charge on it, the land registry won't let me change the name of this property to anybody. Because if I sell it, then the charge gets paid. I can't transfer it from one name to another while
okay, so what you do, what we've been doing as well.
See where I'm going with this, yeah?
Yeah, totally.
But in that scenario,
whoa. Let's slow down for a second. Sorry. Yeah. So that section there. Now, the thing about it, yes, once you get your title deed, send a copy to land registry because then they know that anything in that name is a limited company and there won't be no contracts. So that's automatically going to be put into your, basically your name would show up in land registry and you say, right, I want to put that into there because they've got the title deed.
Yeah.
Of your company. Right. So at the moment, they don't have a title deed. So it's just floating nilly-willy anywhere and anybody's just tapping into it. It needs to be honed down and dragged into a folder for itself, which has got your limited company name on it. Once you give that title deed to them, then anything that's in their company would go into that folder.
No, it won't.
It will.
Can I throw a potential spanner into the works?
Certainly.
So if you've got a corporation, John Henry Smith Limited, and then you have a legal fiction, a trust, John Henry Smith, and then you've got the living man, John Henry : yeah? That's three separate entities. So as Steve's saying, but the land registry currently have a contract with the trust, about the legal fiction, which is a trust.
Yes.
If he sends the title deeds to the corporation, that's a separate entity, and they've got nothing to do with each other, have they?
There you go. Okay, my question, what you're saying there, Michael, my question is, who owns the trust?
No one owns a trust. It's a relationship between three parties. But of course, you can have at least two people in a trust.
No, but I'm just saying, if there's something in a trust, who owns the trust?
Trustee.
The trustee.
But who owns the trustee?
Well, if the trustee is a legal fiction, then of course a legal fiction is another trust.
There you go. So if you're not a legal fiction and you've claimed it, you're the man claiming the company, which is the legal fiction, which is the trust. Because a trust is just another entity, an organization.
Yes.
Maybe a company, whatever, however they want to see it. They want to see it trust because it's got different rules and different laws than a limited company. But basically the same thing. It's still an organization. The company is an organization. It's still labeled as an artificial person.
Yes.
Right. So that's my problem with trust. It's like, no disrespect to that, whatever her name is, everybody's sharing that. But I'm saying everybody's putting their stuff into a trust. The question is, does she own that trust? If she owns that trust, who owns her? Because if nobody owns her and nobody owns Limited, then the system owns it, because the system owns the implied company via the birth certificate.
Right.
The birth certificate is the thing that you run around with and use. Well, we run around with and use. Mine, I don't use no more. My passport run out. My driving license run out. I'm still driving. I'm still going around whatever. I can't travel at the moment anyway. I'm broke, man. Joke. But yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. So it's like the trust basically is the implied company they created us as in the first place.
Hi, Carl. Can I just can I ask a question? Can I step back? Can we just step back a little to I think the situation applies to a few people, Carol, well, myself, Caroline, and Steve, and the rest of it. And actually, it comes down to all of us, or everybody who was bought their name. My first question is, because 2 parts, right? Does a company which is dormant, does the company have to be dormant? That's what the question is. Does the company have to be dormant from the point of view of not interacting or contracting with anybody else? And also, as far as that is concerned, is the company not not contracting with anybody because it's dormant?
The company doesn't have to be dormant. You can trade if you want to. You're the director of that company name.
Right. So basically, from the point of view of owning yourself wholeheartedly, materialistically, on this level, and a touch spiritually, I guess, you can go out and start contracting with whichever company, corporation, trust, whatever. You can go out and actually do all of that with everybody, but you're just doing it from a more grounded standpoint. Is that right?
Yeah, you're taking full liability and responsibility to what you're doing with your company as director.
Right. So you don't have to be a trust. Sorry, you don't have to be dormant necessarily.
No, but you don't want to trade that name because it's your name. It's the thing about it. See, this is where a lot of people get it confused. And I keep saying this to Caroline, and Caroline realizes it as well, is that we keep saying, I am that name. I'm not the name. The name is a company. Nothing to do with. I'm not.
You're just Carl, aren't you?
That's it. I'm just Carl. Just Carl. That's it.
Yeah, but hang on. Let me just go back to what Daniel's just said. He said, we're buying the name. We're not buying the name. We're setting a company up.
There you go.
There
you go.
You're not buying your name, because who are you buying your name off? You can't buy your name.
There you go. Because no one's claimed it. That's why it's implied, because no one's expressed to say that they've claimed it. That's why it's private limited expressed, because we've claimed it. Now it's an expressed company. Your name at the moment as a company is implied because no one's claimed it. Once you go and claimed it, Companies House expresses it on their house. That's why all of us will get letters from Companies House or promotionals from different companies, because they see our name. Ashley made a great find. He made a great find about you can go and make your name private now by paying, I think, £100 on Companies House. So no companies can send you any invitations. So the letters, what Caroline, myself, probably Fabian, everybody else is getting is the name in uppercase, lowercase, the limited company. That's just an invitation or marketing or promotion from another company trying to do business with us, because they've seen our name or seen our address on Companies House because it's shown. Every company is, but you can actually, great find, blessing to the guy. He found that, yeah, we can put that down as a private name now, so your name doesn't have to be seen on company's house. Your name and address, your information could be private. So again,
you initially go ahead.
Can I ask something? Can I ask something?
With anyone in any, sorry, you can go ahead and contract with anyone, anyone, any shape or form, because I've got an entertainment company and I've also got my company, which are two limited companies, right? I mean my name, yeah, which is two limited companies, and I haven't actually even made them dormant yet. I still haven't got around to doing it.
Have you sent back the HMRC tax reference, unique tax reference number?
Well, I've got one that I had from before, which is a UTR number, right? Yeah,
right.
I've got one.
What company is that for?
That is actually not for any company. That is, well, it is, but it's not for any of those companies. It's for when I work as a peripatetic teacher in schools, and right. I got a unique tax reference number from HMRC.
Cool. So that number you're using to trade with.
Yeah.
So you can use that number anywhere to trade with.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
You see, you don't need to make your name trade.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're going to hold back.
Why are we stipulating to make it dormant? I know there are reasons, but in the sense of because you don't want to contract with people and so on and so forth. You're keeping it secure. What other reasons are there for keeping it dormant?
There is no reason. The thing about it, I'm just saying, look, I'm keeping it dormant because then nobody can ever turn around and say there's a contract with that company name. There isn't.
Okay, no problem. So now what I was saying, like in Caroline's case, where because she wants to put things, like accumulate or
it's acquiring assets, Daniel. That's what it is.
Assets. Bring all the assets into one place.
Yeah.
Which is now they're faffing about and they're beating around the bush. They can use the excuse of the fact that the on and all the rest of it, but the fact is they are very efficient, and if they want to do what they want to do, they want to do it quickly. So we can look at the fact we can look at the fact that they're actually seeing that she's accumulating power. So
it may be because remember, a lot of companies are always doing business every day. A lot of companies are doing things every day. So we can't put it down to the fact that just because we went and bought our name.
All right, can I make a point about that, please, before we move on? What is active for corporation tax purposes? Generally, the company or organization is considered to be active for corporation tax purposes when it is, for example, and then there's quite a few examples, managing investments. When you acquire assets, that asset potentially becomes an investment.
Right. That's kind of what I was trying to say.
Managing investments, then definitely for Caroline, but I wouldn't do that because it means you're going to have to then start to have
clear.
Yes, corporation tax and everything like that. So therefore, but the company's actively trading, and that's their definition. If I could argue it and I could see it, they're going to have experts that will be able to convince any judge. So therefore, I don't think I'd go down that route, Caroline.
Perhaps leave it in the trust then, because it's quite secure in the trust at the moment.
I would.
You have to declare everything. You're going to have to declare. It's going to be considered an active company.
Correct.
So if it's dormant, then then it's like you're kind of doing business behind closed doors. But so there's a definition between.
No, I mean, like the thing about it, in my view, basically you're dormant because you're basically collecting all your assets to start your company.
No,
hold on, wait a minute. No, this is my way of doing business.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily.
No, hold on, wait. That's my way of doing business for my company. That's it. You can't argue with that. No one can.
Hang on, Carl.
No,
I can.
No, hold on, wait.
No, you just made a point.
Sorry.
Go on, Michael.
When you acquire assets, those assets, potentially become an investment. When they're an investment, you will potentially have income. When you have income, you then have to declare it because you're a corporation. And what is active for corporation tax purposes? Earning interest, managing investments, carrying on a business activity, etc., buying and selling goods. So the only concern that I've got there is that when you bring in assets into the corporation, Carl, I agree with you exactly.
Totally.
I know exactly what you're saying. But
right, so can you just read that? Can you just read that first line again?
Which one?
Generally, it's not generating any income.
No. Wait, Jack. Okay. Say the first line again, Michael.
I can't say the first because I don't know what I said first. But
about when you're acquiring assets.
Yes. Yeah. So
now, hold on. Wait. So when you're acquiring assets.
Yes.
The thing I'm asking, and my question would be just on that alone, in what capacity and how am I acquiring these assets?
Whether you're buying and selling, or even if you
but do they say that? Do they say that?
No, but that's what.
No, but you can't answer that question.
Of course you can.
No, but that's our question to them, Michael. Don't answer their questions for yourself because you don't know what their answer is going to be. If I'm going to ask them a question, okay, if I go to Companies House or Land Registry or whoever, and I say to them, look, you said here that I'm acquiring assets. Now, does that mean, am I acquiring assets by trading them? Or does it mean acquiring assets by gathering my own capital assets and putting them in a safety account so I know what I've got at the moment?
All right, on that point,
they can't charge you for just gathering stuff unless you see.
That's right. I'm agreeing with you on that point. There, what happens is I know that I'm not in trading because I'm a trader. Yeah. Right. So on that point there, if you have a trading account, okay, whatever you accumulate, stay in that trading account is yours and it's untouchable. It's a bit like being a tax haven. But the moment you then take it out, okay, and start to spend it and whatever you're going to do with it, it becomes taxable. So that's when you have to declare it at that point.
That's what I'm saying, because you're trading.
What if you bring a house into your corporation?
But you're not trading. That's not.
I already own it, don't I? I already own it. If I'm going to sell it, then I think I'm trading, and then I would have to pay the tax.
You are bringing the house into the corporation, okay, and that house is generating rental income, then that rental income is income for the corporation. And because it's income for the corporation, it's a taxable event.
Yeah.
Why is everyone trying to say that's Michael's opinion? It's not Michael's opinion.
No, but now you're talking about the property being rented.
Sorry?
Now you're talking about the property being rented.
Yeah, that's different.
Well, yeah, because it is being rented at the moment, isn't it?
No, but you didn't explain that in the beginning.
Oh, okay.
You see, I'm just talking about, right, if you've got a property, I'm just saying, no, hold on, wait, I'm just saying.
If you Caroline situation, that's all.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. But I'm talking, because okay, yeah. So I'm just looking at the property. If the property is going into that, but it's just a property, you can transfer the property to the limited company, not a problem.
For no money.
For no money.
Which is what I did, for no money.
That's it.
But don't forget, it's already in a limited company. It's already in an implied company, which we don't know about.
There you go.
So what have I done differently apart from expressing the fact that it's now a limited company?
You've just put it into your private company, which is a private trust. That's your own trust.
Okay.
Was there a name change?
No.
There's not a name change? But you are not called Caroline, whatever your surname is, limited before, were you?
No, it wasn't limited. So, okay, I get your point.
So the name change would be a clear, official statement, for want of a better word?
The thing about it, I'm just saying that basically, who owns the trust?
Well, as I said, but you can't say that anyone owns a trust, because what you've done in a trust, but you've split the title. You have the legal title, which is the responsibility of the trustee, and then you have the equitable title, and that belongs to the beneficiary. So nobody really owns it. You've got somebody who gets a use of it, and then you've got somebody who manages it and is responsible for for all the payments of it. And
okay, so let me restate. So how is the trust set up? Who sets it up?
And then you have the equitable title, and that belongs to the beneficiary. So nobody really owns it. You've got somebody who gets a use of it, and then you've got somebody who manages it and is responsible for for all the payments of it. And
okay, so let me restate. So how is the trust set up? Who sets it up? What governing body do you go to set up a trust?
You don't need to go to a governing body because you can do it yourself, can't you? So, I mean, you can become the grantor or the settlor. Can you see my point?
Sure, but what legal standing do you have behind that?
I'm not sure that you have to have any legal standing. I just think that anybody who wants to set up a trust can do it. And
that's my understanding. Anybody can set up a trust, yeah.
Legally or lawfully.
Yeah, but if you're coming into a conflict, what Carl's saying, I think, is where do you go to
who takes full responsibility and liability?
It's a trustee. So once a trustee is going to accept responsibility of becoming the trustee for an express trust, then it's going to be the trust. Well, it's a trust.
So who owns the trustee?
Sorry?
Who owns the trustee?
A trustee can either be a legal fiction or a lawful entity. So it can be any. So, I mean, nobody has to own me. I can become a trustee in my own capacity as a living man, but no one owns me. So I don't think that question applies for everything. But for a legal fiction call, yes, you're right. Somebody has to be responsible for that legal fiction.
Do you see, the legal fiction, somebody has to take full responsibility and liability for it. This is why, for example, whatever her name is, she says, right, with that police conversation, she says, yeah, right. Any of you guys get stopped, blah, 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 you're in my trust, blah, 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 just tell them to call me and I'll explain it to them. Because she's taking full liability and responsibility for that. And for all those in that.
But that's as a trustee call.
This is cool. This is cool. But my question is, who owns that trustee? Who owns her? Who owns her name?
But the way that she says it, you see, because I'm listening to about 15 to 20 hours of her now, and she's saying that no one owns her. She is the minister of energy and matter in movement. Okay. So therefore, the only thing higher than her is God, her creator. So that's who owns her. But of course, right, you're not going to bring God into the lawful or legal world. So she now, being the trustee, she has a body, but the body is being given the legal fiction title, but she is the energy which is controlling the body.
It's the same path the Vatican use. It's the same path she's using. She's using spirituals, laws and stuff, which is cool. Nothing wrong with that, because we all come under that heading.
So no one owns this.
Which I agree with. But if you was to ask her, where's her passport? What would she give you?
She hasn't got one, apparently.
All right. So, okay. So I'm not, again, I can't have a conversation with you about her, but do you know what I mean? But
what's the question?
But what you're saying is that, okay, so people can go and put all their stuff into her trust and it'll be secure, which is cool.
When she talks about trust, and this is something that I'm not 100% certain on. So when she talks about trust, she's not talking about a legal entity. What she's talking about is, I trust you.
Yes, the responsibility. The responsibility. This is where I'm trying to get to as well, because the thing about it is, like, somebody's got to be responsible on their end. It's not about us. It's about who's attacking us. That's what it's about. I'm just defending myself.
Yeah.
So if I can defend myself in a secure way, then I don't need to rely on anybody else. Just see, in a certain sense. So it's like, well, no disrespect to those who put themselves in a trust or whatever because they don't want to do the work that all of us have done.
Yeah.
Because all of us have done a lot of studying, man. Do you know what I mean? So we know what we're kind of like dealing with. And there's like-minded people here we can talk about with it, which is a blessing. But the thing about it is, like,
what is your doubt or dubiality with
of what?
Trusts?
I don't have nothing against trusts. It's just I haven't looked into them too much because I didn't need to, because what I did is secure enough.
So a limited company is safer than trusts, in your opinion?
In my opinion. I mean, because I don't know about trust. I can only have a conversation of what I know from what I know and say, like, that's my question. All I want to do for my question about trust is who owns the trust and who owns the company that owns that trust.
And you can ask,
if I owned a trust, for example, if I owned a trust, and I called it Mr. Shine, whatever. Now that's my trust, and all you lot put all your stuff in my trust, Mr. Shine, and I'm taking responsibility for that. And I'm saying, yeah, I'm going to respond to all these calls, all these letters for you. My question is, who owns me? I own the limited company that owns that trust. So no one, this limited company is not incumbent to any office. This limited company is not in the United Kingdom. It's not set up in the United Kingdom.
And the trust
problem
isn't the trust in the same
in England, Wales. It's a different jurisdiction completely. Because a man has to own the company. Over here, a man can own a man. And that's what's happening over here with the implied company. Someone owns our company name, legal name. Somebody owns that. It's time for us to take it back. And that's all I've done. And whatever I've done there, that seems to be working because I'm just looking at the contract law. Everything has to be done in contract law on this earth. That's it. You walk outside your door, you're doing a contract with the council for walking on their pavement. Because if there's a crack in the pavement and you trip over, you can sue the council.
Okay. So
everything you do is a contract.
Limit about trusts, Leslie.
So the trust basically doesn't really, the trust to me, I mean, like, I stay away from trust because I don't really know too much about them. And these are the kind of questions I would be asking if I was to get into a trust.
Oh, can I just come in there? You just said who owns you? Who owns the limited company? Who do you think owns it?
I own it. I have claim to the name and I have right to use that limited company name.
You just said who owns the company. I'll tell you who owns the company. The Treasury own the company. Because you're registered on Company's House and they own Company's House.
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying.
So you don't own it.
No, I didn't say that.
But what I'm saying is they still own you, just like the legal fiction.
No, they don't.
The only difference is that you're a limited company and you put in limited.
This is where you're getting it wrong. This is where you're getting it wrong because you're seeing the name as you. You're not the name, Steve. You're not the name, Steve.
I don't see the name as me.
But that's what you're describing.
I have a trust as well.
Go on, just explain that again.
Well, if Company's House, the Treasury own Company's House and you're registered on Company's House. So
no, wait, stop there. You're not registered on Company's House, Steve. You're not registered on Company's House. No. This is what I keep meaning. Caroline, do you see the problem I keep getting into?
Yeah, I was doing the same thing.
Everybody's doing the same. You can't see yourself as you being the name. No, the company name, yes, is registered with Company's House, which belongs to them. Yes, that's the company name. That's nothing to do with you, Steve. That's nothing to do with you.
You misunderstand. You just said who owns me, the limited company. That's what I was saying. The limited company is owned by Company's House. Well, because it's on Company's House, the Treasury own it, don't they?
Yeah, we know that. We know that.
I'm not saying they own you personally. I'm saying the limited name they own.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's no difference. That's what I've been saying all along. The Company's House belongs to the limited company name belongs to Company's House, which is in England and Wales. You have to register a company in England to be floated in United Kingdom, like United Kingdom, or in the waters, should I say, in Admiralty and Maritime law. A limited company has to float in that water to do business, or implied company has to float in that water to do business. So yes, we are the men and women standing on England because the company is bought on England to float in maritime. So the man stands on England, goes into Company's House, what's in England, and buys a company in English and says, right, I've got this limited company name now. It's nothing to do with me. I can go and put that limited company name, which is on the side of a ship. Every ship is written in capital letters. That's my ship. I've just bought a limited company document to act as my ship, to float and do business with. It's nothing to do with me. It's just a name.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's it. So what I'm trying to say is you see with what I was saying about Caroline, people get it mixed up to say, well, they own me. No, they don't own you.
Oh, well,
they own the title name. Yes, they own the title name.
Yeah, that's just how we're speaking.
Don't care. They can have it all day long. That's why it's dormant, because I know they own it. I know Company's House owns that title name because they gave me the title deed. Where did I get the title deed from? I had to get it from Company's House to give me permission by the Crown. So I'm private limited company of the Crown. There's nothing higher than that. United Kingdom is a private limited of the Crown. We're at the same position. If I go and get a seal and a flag and a coat of arms, I can be United Kingdom. Is United Kingdom now. That's it. Everybody can come and get a passport for me.
But the problem is we're limited. When you're registering stuff in a limited company, like Daniel who's trading and Michael, where there's income coming in, they have to hold accounts and register them and everything.
Sure. But that's sure. So that's why I pointed out. That's why I pointed out.
You're going to be coming into
which is no. This is the problem. See, this is the
finish your point, Cox. I missed what he was saying because
say it again, Steve.
Please, Steve. Sorry about that because I didn't hear everything.
Yeah, I'll repeat it. What I was saying is, what we need to discuss here is where Caroline. Now, you know, she has properties what she's got rented out. Now, if she's sending a declaration to HMRC saying that she doesn't need to pay tax and she's a limited company, and she's putting her property in there, what is an investment, and then she's got money coming in which is capital off that investment. If she doesn't record it and notify him, she's going to start breaching money laundering laws, and she could get herself in trouble.
Yes, and
Guys, can I just say something? Because I think I can see where people are getting confused, right? I think what Carl's trying to say is that you buy your name and that's one limited company and you make that a dormant company. Now, if you want to do any other business, you just create a different company name and you would do the business through that company name. Then it's not related to your personal name. It's just related to some other name, like he's saying Hornswoods, that you then own.
That you own. You can own any company you want. You can go and make, right, let's say for Caroline's example, I'll do mine. I can make Carl Limited.
I understand that, Carl. But
hold on, wait. I can make, what Laurie's pointing out is a good thing. I can make Limited. Now I can use Carl Limited to trade. It's still not Carl Michael Limited.
That's
game
correct.
over.
Can I just say that I wasn't
you still own the company.
Yeah, I understand that. But what I'm saying is, what we need to be careful here of is, all as I'm saying is, we don't need two companies. We can use the same company. Just don't have it dormant. Rather than having it dormant, we need to be careful of how we run it. That's all I'm saying.
That's what it's
and when you're putting stuff in there that you're going to have income coming from,
thank you.
Now you're in trouble.
Caroline, do you hear what he's saying there?
Yeah.
Right. This is what I've been explaining. We have to start looking and start perceiving ourselves as the business now. We're not looking at ourselves as a business.
Right.
That's the problem. You have to start looking at that's why I said on the group B, start thinking of yourself as a logo to put together. Start thinking of your heading title for your letterheads and stuff like that. Because you have to start looking at yourself as a bit. You are the secretary. You are the director. You are the security guard. You are all the staff at the member at the moment, because there's no other staff in your company. So you have to be everything. If you get a letter coming through your door and it's in all capital letters and it doesn't have limited, you are the secretary. If that goes into the office, you're getting fired because it didn't have limited at the end of it. You've just lost your job.
I don't think anyone's challenging that call.
No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying to you is that if you start running yourself as a company, you'll start seeing everything as a company. At the moment, you're looking at it as yourself as a personal, and you're bringing the emotions into it as a personal thing.
Can I just say,
we're attaching it to us. We're attaching it to us. We've got to step away from it. It's an individual entity, as Laurie just explained. It's individual. Everything we do, you can put your name, you can put it into any limited company. So Caroline, for example, she can put it into Caroline Anderson and still let it trade. She can still have a tax reference number for that company to allow it to trade. But now it's in a limited company that she owns.
The issue there, though, Carl, is that if you do that, but then as Steve said, you are going to be subject to corporation tax as soon as you start.
But that's fine.
Sorry. As soon as you start to generate income on it, okay.
But how much are you going to be earned? Because you're allowed to earn 125,000 before paying tax anyway. So if you know that you're going to earn 125,000.
Carl, please let me finish my point.
Sorry.
And so the second part of the point is, if you put it into a private express trust, okay, you don't have to declare anything. That's
the same as a limited company, Michael, because you don't have to declare anything unless you're earning above the threshold. You can earn 125,000 without paying tax.
But I've just spoken to an accountant, so all that information that I read out earlier, I got it from an accountant, okay? And the accountant is basically saying that as far as HMRC and Companies House are concerned, the corporation is active. And when it's active, then you are going to have to do your account. When you do your account, you're going to have to account for everything, okay? Yeah. Acquisition of assets, income, things you've sold. Yeah.
But isn't that what a business does? That's what a business does. That's what you are now. You are a business.
No, but you're not adding anything to what I've just said there. The only thing that I'm saying is if you put it into a trust, you don't have to declare everything because it's private. It's in the private. It's in a completely different jurisdiction. HMRC, courts, whoever, government. It's got nothing to do with them.
It's still in the private. It's still in the private. It's still private.
But in a limited company that's owned by Companies House,
it's private.
It's not.
It's private.
It's in the legals.
It's a private limited company.
Yeah, but it's how can I say? It's not private. Like a private trust is private. Nobody can touch it.
Right.
Limited companies falls under certain rules and legislation.
Yes, I totally agree. But it's private. I totally agree with what you're saying. I totally agree with what you're saying.
No, you don't. You don't.
I do. I totally do.
I see where you come. I think the only way to do is like you're doing this, Carl, is maybe have two companies. Just give me 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Have a company where you register everything that you need to keep safe, like your houses and everything else, and anything that you're going to trade with, and use that as an active business. But still, a limited.
Didn't I just say that?
And run two companies.
Didn't I just say that? Yeah. I just said that.
And I think that's the only way.
There's a difference. There's a difference as well, whereby we can have that company with all of your assets, and that company's private. And then when you've got another company that is, not private. I mean, dormant. Sorry. And then you've got your company that's not dormant, and then you can then move your assets from that company to the other company. But isn't that a little bit of a bit dodgy? That can be considered dodgy, couldn't it?
Well, under the beneficial ownership, you've got to be careful over these money laundering things now, because they're keen on with it all, aren't they? That's all I'm not saying there's out wrong with it. I'm just saying we need to look at it.
But the only thing that I'd like to know is, we are saying, sorry, Carl, it's not that you're saying that we need to set up a private limited company. So if you set up a private limited company, you just do a search on Companies House, you will see there's either private or public. Those private limited companies, because I've just seen one, Michael Wright Driving, what's it called? Michael Wright Driving Services Limited, okay? That's not his name, but it's a private limited company. Because it's a private limited company registered on Companies House, it's subject to corporation tax, income, accounts, all that kind of stuff that everyone has to do for a corporation. And that's also what the public limited companies are going to have to do. So it makes no difference. However, if you put it into a trust, but if he called it Michael Wright Services Trust, he'll be fine, because then you don't have to declare it. And that's the only point I'm saying. I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong. I think I'm adding something that I think that you might be missing. That's all.
Sorry. Isn't it technically that the United Kingdom has been dissolved anyway? So all these people are acting illegally, like the courts, the police, MHMR, all acting illegally, technically, anyway.
But he's proven it though, Carl. Brian, sorry. He's proven
no remedy, is there, in the courtroom?
Yeah.
Because they're all corrupt.
Yeah.
You're never going to win, are you?
Right.
You are going to win. You are going to win. You are going to win, because the how you way you win is exactly the same thing I always boil down to for the first question. What language are you using? Let's not escape that point. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I understand that.
Until you can answer that question, what language you're using, everything else we've discussed is irrelevant.
Well, it is on here, but when they're taking you to court, it's not, is it? Because they just ignore.
But no, have you asked them what language they're using? And they clarified that. Have you taken that into the court and said to them, what actually language are you actually writing here? Because as an Englishman, I'm seeing this as English. And if it's English, it's an acronym. Game over. I'm sorry. But none of you have done that. Until you do that, and then you bring back the answers of what that is, then we could see that succeeding. Because we're in this here to succeed in things. If we're not going out there and we're not doing them and we're not trying them, then we're never going to succeed.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you've got a point there.
I have asked.
We've been on this. We've been on this for 2 hours now, so I don't know if anybody else has got any questions, because
yeah,
we've done a lot of talking, and there's some people who are very quiet, and I'm sure they've got questions to ask.
Yeah, sorry, I've got some. I mean, I went to the post office the other day on the passport stuff, and basically I taped the guy talking, but I'm going to play the recording and just let me know if you can hear it. Yeah.
Hey, dudes, can I just interject? I handed my limited company thing in the other day, and they didn't even recognise it. They just.
Can people just respect people when they're speaking? Because, and then, anyway, do you know what? I give up sometimes. I thought someone was going to play a recording.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I know, but I just think people need to. I know we're on Zoom. I know I've been a bit quiet because it's hard to actually get. Anyway, let's just carry on. But just people need to respect other people.
Yeah,
okay, I'm going to play the recording now. Yeah.
Is someone recording all this? Can I get a recording of this, please, dude?
Yeah, we're recording it. Carl will have the recording.
I'm recording.
Nice one, dudes. Well, I'm sat with a couple of people, so I'm gonna. Sorry, I missed it, dudes, but pleasure speaking to you and everything, and seeing you. And sorry, I'm not there. And peace and love.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's start this recording.
Okay, here we go.
Nice one, dudes.
We can't hear it, Brian. We can't hear it. No, not at all. It's way. Still can't hear nothing, Brian.
You just want to give us an overview of it because we're not going to be able to hear it, Brian.
Yeah.
Basically say that there's no business passport. I've got to use my own passport. That's basically what the guy was saying. And
what did you ask him?
I said, "Can you tell me the process for getting a business passport?" And basically, he just waffled on. It was like, "No, you can't get." It's like I speak in a different language. Like, no, you can't get a business passport. You can use your own. You have to use your own passport.
Who did you ask? The post office.
It was the post office, but you know,
but it's like what Carl said. Don't ask the post office; they're not going to know.
But that I really remember.
Can I say that I contacted the passport office, and I've done quite a bit of research since then over the last few days as far as the passport's concerned. And when I spoke to them, but I basically said that I have never had a passport because I haven't. And he said, "Is it a first application?" I said, "Yes." And then I said that I don't have a birth certificate either because I don't. It's not mine. Yeah. So, but the long and short of it was that, you know, because a really good conversation with him. And what he was basically saying is that but I'm just looking at my notes now. He was basically saying that in order to get a passport, I'm going to have some kind of ID, state recognized ID. And then I said to him, "Well, of course you realise that, you're going to be trying to coerce me to commit fraud because I haven't had any rights of use of the birth certificate, the passport or anything, and I don't have one." So, he basically said that I need to speak to General Registry Office, which I did do. And they then said that I need to speak to the hospital as far as the birth notification form's concerned. So I basically went from the passport office to the GRO to at the hospital. And I spoke to the hospital, and because the birth notification form is so old, they're basically saying that the chances are that it's been discarded now because it's no longer on microfiche. But he did tell me to still submit a request, and all of them were very helpful to me. He basically said that I need to submit a request in terms of getting data protection access to my birth notification form, which everyone already knows it's through your mother's records and not through your records. Yeah. But then I went on to do some research, and I looked on, I can't remember which website it was, but I was in a sense led to the UK Border Agency, and that's now gone defunct, and it's now the UK Visa and Immigration, and that's something like that. And when I actually started looking there, I mean, I came across an article basically saying what are acceptable travel documents for entry clearance. And when you look at that, basically, you can just about use anything as a passport. And there's different types of passports. So, I mean, you've got the passports for refugees. There's a 1954 Convention on Travel Documents, which the UK obviously subscribes to. You could also, in a sense, just, I believe, but of course I need to do this next, I'm going to contact the passport office and say that, of course, I've got no ID, but I'll be following your regulations in terms of what a passport needs to contain. A photograph, name, date of birth, nationality, or a disclaimer saying that I don't have a nationality.
Sorry, Michael, to interrupt you there. Are you so you saw something that showed, you saw some paraphernalia that talked about different types of passport?
Yes.
And was the business passport or any other type of anything in relation to what we're talking about on that?
I don't want a business passport. I never have wanted one. So, I mean, to be fair, but I was a bit confused when everyone was talking about it over the last few weeks, because I don't think the business passport's the way to go. If anything, what I would do is say, try to get a diplomatic passport.
Well, that's what I mean. You know, anything in relation to the type of passport that we're after, which is one that doesn't conform to the norm, the general, the
the issue with a business passport is it's going to have a passport type P. And if it's a passport type P, then you're going to be treated like a pleb. And it's as simple as that, no matter where you go. But if
have you got that actually saying that?
Well, I spoke to the passport.
It's like businesses are a separate entity, as we know. What brought my attention is when you said about they needed state ID.
Yeah.
Was there any clarification of what kind of state ID?
Well, no, because things I know where you're going to be leading. You're going to be saying the deed of incorporation is going to be state ID.
But there you go. Because if you only need this is on behalf of the business passport. I know you said you didn't go down that route, but I'm just looking at it from that point of what you made with just basically what ID are they, what state ID are they will they accept? And if the title deed is accepted, because that's recognized by the state, then...
Well, the passport office was saying a birth certificate. And of course I said that I don't have one.
Yeah, but you do. Well,
no, I don't.
No, not you. But the company does have a birth certificate.
Yes.
Yeah. So the title deed is the company birth certificate. Now, if you question them on, okay, what language are they writing your name in as a normal passport? So say, okay, my mum's got a passport. Now her name's written in all capital letters. Could you please explain the language of what you're writing in? Because to me, that either means that's a company you're writing in capital letters, or it's an acronym as English. Now, it depends on what they answer you, because you can already say, well, look, if you're saying I've got a passport already and my name's written in all capital letters, I've already got a business passport. And that's an implied company. Do you see, you're making them hang themselves.
Well, no, but it's got a passport type P.
No, but the thing about, no, it doesn't matter about that for a moment. We're trying to get them to hang themselves with the basic questions we're asking. There's no point us keep trying to answer irrelevant, well, not irrelevant, but not known questions at the moment. The questions we do know is what language are they using? Are they writing your name down in the passport as a company? Because it's written in capital letters. That's the question, because it's like, you can't go past that, because we're discussing. You don't have a passport, Michael. No one can have a passport. Yeah. None of us on here will have a passport or any ID. None of us have birth certificates. None of us. This is what I know the point you're coming from. But my question is, if they're going to give you a passport anyway, whether if Brian, if Nikki or Dav or whoever took out their passport now, even my old passport, my name would be written in capital letters. Right. So the thing that if I look at that now with the knowledge I know, that's written as a company.
Right. Okay. Can I just say something then? So as far as that's concerned, unfortunately, there are all these systems and governments and organizations that have interjected themselves in between our God-given rights and the products and services that we want from the system, okay? And because of that, in order for you to travel from state to state, from border to border, there's ports in place. And these ports, whether it's seaport, airport, or whatever it is, you're going to have border patrol at each of these ports saying, if you don't have the right type of ID that we recognize, we can't allow you to come into this. But they're interfering with your God-given rights. So therefore,
question on that point there.
So therefore,
question on that point there. Point there. Oh, you want to carry on? Sorry.
Well, yeah, because I haven't finished yet. But carry on, Daniel. Ask a question.
You know, when policemen take deportees back to another country, yeah, do they buy a ticket, or do they just show their ID at the freaking you know, when you go to check in your baggage, and then they check your passport there, right? And then you put your baggage through, and then you go through to the departures, right? Do they actually have a ticket? Do policemen and all that have an actual ticket?
Daniel, I don't think they do, because that's why it's called deported. I said I don't think they have a ticket because it's called deported.
Right. So they show an ID then, right?
No, I don't. Normally what happens is there's just a piece of paper from the court that's been signed by a judge or something, and then that person can be deported. But normally they don't have to come with their own ID documents. So.
Right, okay, then that's semantics.
He's talking about the police.
No, not buying anything.
No, it's called semantics. Let me just try to clear something up here.
What's the relevance though?
Right, exactly. So therefore,
relevance.
No, that's irrelevant. Well, that's irrelevant. The point is that when you are in between, you are not in any state at all. Okay, so
So can you just say that again? I didn't quite hear you.
But if you are not in any record, but if you haven't passed through, you are in between states. So therefore, you're stateless. Okay.
Right.
Hang on, let me just finish. Sorry. And because you are stateless, they can send you back, but to the destination that you've just come. Sorry, I mean not from the port that you left. So, like if you came from England to the States, yeah. If you arrive in the States, in between the ports, you're stateless. If they say that you don't have the right ID, they can send you back to where you came from. They can, but ultimately, if you show your passport, they can send you back to the country that passport owns, or just the passport recognizes. So the ultimate thing is to say, under the 1954 Convention of Travel Documents, okay, I want a stateless passport. So therefore, you can't send me back anywhere, because the whole world belongs to me. That's the difference. And I think that that's what we need to get to. One, we need to be able to say that we can travel anywhere, because I think it's Carl the other week that said that a UK passport, but I think there's 190 odd countries you can go to. You can't go to every country, basically. And if you wanted to travel to Iraq, Iran, or whatever, but then you should have the right to do it. But if you have a UK passport, you can't.
Right. So my point for asking that was that, you know, the ID, the identity that we are accumulating, putting together and stuff like that, isn't that I was asking about the police, about the or the border enforcement, whatever you call them, because they escort someone, they escort people all the way back, don't they? And
I don't know.
Okay, well they do, yeah. They escort people all the way back to their country of origin, right? And I don't believe that they would have to waste time to buy a ticket because of their ID, because of the fact that of their status. So it's literally just a card, but they do have to show something. So it would be a card. So
Daniel, sorry, who are you talking about? Are you talking about the police, or are you talking about the passengers?
Police. So what I mean is that in relation, so in the same thing that we're accumulating and putting together to have the correct status to show where we're at, you know, like, you know, what Nikki is doing and stuff like that, right? can that be used? I mean, isn't that something that has the authority and whatever else?
Got you. And the chances are that that's going to have to be granted by the state.
Well, I mean, it's going to have the state's emblem on it, isn't it?
It's going to have the state's emblem, but the chances are that they're the ones that are going to obviously grant it to the actual the Border Patrol employees.
Yeah, I'm just going to do some research on whether they actually buy a ticket or not, or because the thing is that all you would then have to do is literally buy a ticket, and then go there and show your ID and get on and go where you're going.
Daniel, they work for the Metropolitan Police. They work for the company. So they're traveling on a company passport. So any police showing their badge will be under that company, which is recognized.
That's what my point is, yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So basically, no, but the thing about it, until you're recognized as a country or a police force or whatever, which you can do, then you won't be recognized as that such. That's why a lot of people are going for the business passport, because the police are traveling under the business of Metropolitan Police business.
Now, Mike, did you see that link I sent you, Cole, the other day?
Yeah.
So there was a corporation basically that's saying that they could sell diplomatic passports to people, and those passports $25,000. But basically, what they're saying is, you'll be traveling as a representative of their corporation. And then but then I think I asked you the question, Carl. So, but if they can do it, but then it means that we should be able to do it if we know the process.
There you go. And that's what Caroline and the other guys have been finding out, that we can actually go and get a business passport. And all you need is a letter from the director of the company. So if I'm the director of my own company, my name, I'm giving myself a letter to go and get myself a business passport. So that business passport will probably have commented, I want to be recognized on the passport as an agent, which is Carmichael. So I don't have to be put down as because the company is Carmichael. And that's what I believe. That's why I want to try and get down there and talk to them, because there's certain things we can point out as well. But what Caroline was saying when she went and spoke about the passport and that kind of side of things, and go into Brian's question earlier on, is that Caroline went into the into the post office and talked to the guy, and the guy didn't even know what a business passport was. So if you're actually going into the post office or anything else, they're not really going to have applications behind the desk.
Can I just read out a response to business passport? Business passports do not exist. They are commonly misrepresented or known as second valid passports.
This is it.
Second passport.
That's what Laura was saying.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Well, Laura found that information out also.
And so therefore they don't exist.
Well, the thing about it, they must, a business passport must exist because your name's written down in the passport as a business.
I just come in here. Have you heard of anything called a world passport?
Yeah, I was just going to suggest that. Yeah.
You can get a world passport,
Yeah.
a world driving license,
Yep.
a world birth certificate.
Yep.
You can put whatever name you want on them.
Yeah.
Why
The
not
world
get a-
passport I've heard about long ago. Yeah, definitely. You can get one of them.
So if you want it, rather than a business one, you can make any business name up you want,
That's
and then get one of them passports and use that name, and get a birth certificate in that name and do whatever you want.
That's it.
So, Michael, did you see that under the list that you had?
Yes, I've seen world passport, but not business passport. Yes. And it's funny because I've just done a search. It's saying the world passport is an over to travel document sold by World Service Authority, which is a non-profit organization founded by Gary Davis in, guess what year? 1954. 1954. It just so happens. So, but this is now just ad-libbing. 1954 is the year of that this convention for travel documents was established. So, the convention was in 1954, but they had meetings starting from 1951, and it was all after but it's all from the back of the 1948 Universal Declaration on Human Rights. So to me, it's more than a coincidence that it's 1954. So I believe that if we contact this World Service Authority, which is a non-profit organization, that might be the way forward for a world passport. I'm not saying that's the only way to go, because
that explains that
by all countries. It's not accepted by all countries.
Yeah, because that's the problem. That's the kind of like difference between the standard passport and the world one, which is seen as like, it's like what you're describing here. It's like the business passport, because it stops the religious aspect and all that kind of stuff, with people going from this country to that country. They don't want this kind of person, and basically gives you access to the whole world. So the business passport is exactly the same thing. It gives you access to the whole world, because you're not traveling as a citizen of any country.
That's right.
They're afraid of a citizen of, like, say, America, not to put them down, and or Israel, and just see, and them doing them kind of things. So when
that's why you could declare yourself as stateless.
Because when you get a business passport, you can the company will be held responsible. So there has to be somebody in that company they will go to and find out who was traveling on that business passport at the time. So a business passport, you can't get away from anything. And that's what they're securing. They're securing that they can catch you whenever they need you. But if you're not doing anything wrong, then there's no need for you to worry, because you're not doing anything wrong. They
but
just
I think ultimately we should get something like a diplomatic passport, because a diplomatic passport, it means that all the diplomats, it doesn't matter which country you're from, they're going to be absolved of any unlawful or illegal not unlawful, but if they do anything that's outside legislation, but they'll be fine to do it.
But it's the same. It's the same thing as I said to you about the United Kingdom, Michael. You've got United Kingdom Limited. So United Kingdom Limited has everybody carrying their passport.
Yeah.
So the thing about it, they know if you brought in a United Kingdom passport into Germany, for example, now they know that they could find you because you've got the United Kingdom passport. The same thing goes to the limited company passport, where it's like, okay, you've got a United Kingdom passport, but it's for a limited company because the company is floating in United Kingdom, set up in England, probably, whatever. Yeah. So they can come directly to your home address for your company. So they can find the staff member who was traveling on behalf of your company name. It's like United Kingdom, the same thing. They can go to United Kingdom and find out who that company member, implied company, was traveling under United Kingdom with that United Kingdom passport as a citizen. So you're giving them an easier access, straight, direct to you as your company to come and see you if you caused any trouble or crime or anything, which you haven't.
Well, an alternative then is a stateless passport.
There you go.
And I'm looking here at the gov.uk government publications, okay, why a passport or travel document is needed and what constitutes one, yeah? A bona fide passport or travel document should contain the photograph, name and date of birth of the holder, state the holder's nationality, and then in brackets, disclaimer if the holder is stateless or of undetermined nationality, okay? And it also says it needs to be valid for travel to the UK. So if you get a 1954 convention travel document, it should mean that it's a bona fide passport and therefore it should be valid for travel to the UK. And that's why I'm going to try to pursue this route instead of going down the route of a business passport or diplomatic, because I really think that if you have the crown on your passport, it means that you're owned by the crown. Simple as that. Hello?
The company is owned by the crown, yes, but you're not.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So the thing about it also as well,
you're the holder of that certificate, aren't you? Sorry, of that passport. So because you're the holder, but then you're basically saying that I'm in contract with the UK or the crown.
Yeah, you're doing business. If you're doing business and your company's doing business, yes, that's going to be under the legislation and statutes of whatever organization you're negotiating this with.
Sorry, Michael, what's that website?
I'll just post the link.
Okay.
Did anyone see the post I put up on the group about the passport and what passport actually was? From the I mean, I've got a 17 a really old dictionary, English dictionary, and I've posted it on the group.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember though. I think I had got something here. I think.
You see the passport. The passport. You see, we've got to look at the definition of what they're meaning by the word passport when they're actually writing the word passport. That's the thing.
Yeah, but they wrote it as an acronym though, didn't they?
There you go. And plus, on top of that, the definition in the English language, the English dictionary, 1756 or whatever. The passport, where is it? Sorry.
Hang on a minute. Aaron's on now. All right, Aaron.
Oh, mate, yeah, I've just going for what I totally forgot about earlier on. Lucky enough, he's still on. So, yeah.
Hey, bro. How you doing, man?
Michael's talking
you're all right,
about... Aaron, Michael's talking about birth certificates here in a world one. Can you explain to him what it's about?
Yeah.
I've got one. Hold on, let me go get mine from downstairs.
Passport, not birth certificate, Steve.
Well, yeah, passport. Sorry, Aaron.
He's got a world passport, Mike.
I've got a world passport. I've got a birth certificate.
Brilliant.
And all that. I'll go grab it. Hold on.
Cheers.
Michael.
Yeah.
Do you know which countries do not accept that world passport? Does it say that?
Well, things I went on to Wikipedia and it said that over 150 countries, and I know there's much more than that. So it's not going to be all of them. Not to say that's a problem because it all depends where you're going, obviously.
On their website, they show successful entries using that passport, and there've been several into the UK where it's accepted at Gatwick, and I think Heathrow. It's a handful, and it's a few years back, but there is precedent that they've accepted them in UK border terms.
Okay, that's good.
Does that mean that you can be exempt from any COVID-19 statutes or acts or legislation?
Yeah, well, that's my concern, Nick, because the type of passport that we want is something that has to say that we're not under any legislation, and that's what a diplomatic passport.
Can I just read passport here for a second?
Yeah.
It just says this is passport from Black's Law Dictionary, right? And it says maritime, a document issued to a neutral merchant vessel by her own government during the progress of a war, to be carried on the voyage to evidence her nationality and protect her against the cruisers of the belligerent powers. This paper is otherwise called a pass, sea pass, sea letter, sea brief. It usually contains the captain's or master's name and residence, the name, property, description, tonnage, and destination of the ship, the nature and quantity of the cargo, the place from whence it comes, and its destination, with such other matters as the practice of the place requires. And then it goes into international law and American law. So basically what they're saying is for a passport is for actually a ship. Yeah. Now a ship, as we just spoke about, the implied company is written down in capital letters. Capital letter names are written on the sides of ships. The company name is a ship.
That's right.
Is your ship what floats in the water? So if they're explaining a passport to actually be for the merchant vessel, then we can see it as this is for our merchant vessel. Our merchant vessel is the ship because it carries.
And that's what the legal fiction is, but the legal fiction's a vessel, and it's a transmitting utility.
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
that's the artificial
implied,
and that's what the
passport.
So I'm just I'm just looking at the definitions of what they're going to use against me in the legal term. So I'm already on it. That's what I'm trying to look at. I'm trying to look at, okay, if they're going to come to me and state this to me, I'm going to explain to them that this is the passport. So if it's a passport for a ship and you've got the name written in capital letters already, which describes a ship, which is an implied company, why can't it be the same as just a limited company, which we can do, which is the business ship? But you're just a cargo on that ship traveling.
But that's what I'm saying about what a valid passport is, though, isn't it? But it does say a bona fide passport. All you need is a photograph, the name, date of birth, and the state of the holder, or a disclaimer if the holder's stateless. And a 1954 convention travel document is going to say that you're stateless.
Yes, but that's their interpretation of what they.
No, it's not called.
I can't get back, Shani.
I mean, it's not what I'm interpreting. It's what I've read from.
No. I'm from their website.
Yes.
Yes. But what I'm going to, Michael, is before that is how are they looking at the passport in the legal sense?
Yeah.
You see, I look at the passport in the legal sense. So if the legal sense, they're trying to give me a legal passport, I want to know what the passport is actually for. That's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at who it's made out to just yet.
Yeah.
Because if they're saying this is a document issued to a neutral merchant vessel, that means it's a ship, some type.
Yeah.
And if the name's written down in the passport, which is the booklet for the pass, the sea pass or just a pass, or a letter of, I said it to Caroline the other day, a letter of, you can get, it's like the passport, but you can get a letter of permission. You can get a permission letter to actually travel. You don't need a passport.
Yeah.
You see, so these little things, if we're challenging them with the legal side of it, because we know about the legal side, we're deep on that. We know so much information, all of us. But if they're going to use the legal against us, let's know what they're using against us. That's all I'm doing. So if they're going to use the passport word, I'm looking at the passport word. How are you seeing that? Are you seeing it as a legal word? Because if it is, I'm looking at the legal dictionary and I'm reading the definition of that. Are you agreeing with me? And I'm asking them that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You see, I'm only asking the questions. How are you delivering your presence towards me?
Yeah.
Because I'm just going to ask you these questions when you come. And these are the questions I'm asking them. Until they clarify these questions and the answers, I don't want any of their documents.
Yeah.
Because then I know it's corrupt. If they can give me the duty of candor, if they can give me a duty of candor, cool, I'm happy to go along and do whatever. But I want to know the best safe route pass for me.
Oh,
yes.
That last one was the letter you said with that has that will be legally accepted.
Yes.
To use as a passport.
Yeah, it was a letter of
transit.
Right, and that letter, Michael, at the very beginning, because I missed some of this passport conversation, but what were the requirements? A photograph, a name, a nationality? Did you say or?
Michael's just stepped
out of a room for a second.
He's not with us for a bit.
But that letter is legally valid.
Yes.
This is my world passport.
Excellent. Yeah, I've seen one of them.
Okay.
Not face to face, but on YouTube.
Yeah. Like say,
Aaron.
Yes.
Michael's just nipped out of the room a minute. Can you wait while he comes back in? It's him.
Yeah, of course I can. That gives me
to hear the world passport.
My question, going back to that letter aspect, Carl, is because I've seen a document with someone else using that with his picture, with his name, declaring his status at the time. I think he was still under the United States, whatever. But that was a valid document that he would use to at the passports.
Okay, so let me just read from the Black's Law Dictionary again. This is the thing I was talking about. It's called letters of safe conduct.
Oh.
Here it says, no subject of a nation at war with England can, by law of nations, come into the realm, nor can travel himself upon the high seas or send his goods and merchandise from one place to another without danger of being seized, unless he has letters of safe conduct. So you don't need a passport. You can get a letter of safe conduct.
Exactly.
So where would you get that letter from?
The government.
No, you know what, Carl? I don't even think you could get it from the government. I think as long as they recognise you as a private, if you like, you can actually have that as your ID and reference.
That can probably what they said about having a director's letter to actually get you a passport. That could be a letter of safe conduct. So you can even write a letter from the director of the limited company to have a letter of safe conduct. But the limited company is the one that has the passport.
See, when I did mine, filed for my world passport, it had to be notarized, but I notarized it myself within the trust with my stamp.
This is it.
Yeah, nice.
See, that's what I said.
And that's exactly the same thing as what he's saying about the director giving you the permission to travel under that company. Is exactly the same thing what Aaron's saying there about he is the one who owns the trust. So he's writing that recognition to say yes.
Well, can you say that again, please, Aaron? I missed that. Sorry.
Well, basically, when I filled my form in on the form, it required me to get it notarized, because obviously I've got my private ecclesiastical trust, and obviously I'm a minister and all that within it. I've notarized it myself with my stamp. So where they wanted it notarized, I just stamped it with my stamp, and it was accepted.
Aaron, have you actually travelled abroad with that passport?
No, like I say, and then I've done some research on it. Do you know what I mean? I've seen many of them being stamped and being let through. But like again, you will get grief when you do try and use it. You've just got to stand your ground. You might get held up for a few hours or whatever else, you know. But they can't stop you. Everyone has the right to travel. You can go from another country. They can't stop you from coming back into the country either. It all falls under, you know, the Declaration of Human Rights and all that sort of stuff.
Absolutely.
We all have the right to choose our own nationality and things like that. I mean, it all falls in it.
Absolutely.
It's like on my pass, you can see it there. Hold up. There's mine.
Okay.
It's all lowercase.
Brilliant.
And like I say, within my name, I've got the and as well. You can see there is
Can you show it again, please? Yeah.
You can see the hologram.
Yep.
Excellent. Can you show it again, please? Yeah.
You can see the hologram.
Yep. It's authentic, man. If it's authentic, it's coming from a body that has been negotiated a deal.
That's my birth certificate. That's my birth certificate.
Yeah.
Nice one.
And then I also have like a couple of little cards that I can carry around. Again, they're all stamped up on the back.
That birth certificate looked like the Winston Shrout one.
Yeah, I'll stick it out so you can see it.
It's the World Service Authority.
It looks like the Winston Shrout one.
That world passport came into existence in 1951, right?
That's right. Yeah.
1954.
1954. So
is that passport subject to legislation?
Sorry?
Is that passport subject to legislation?
Of whoever negotiated the deal would have put in their legislations and rules for whatever can happen within that scope of travel.
So was that passport created to kind of go against the system, for want of a better word?
No.
I got that because obviously within the trust, obviously we've learned to deal with the and all that, you know. Because I say on your birth certificate, it's got your name and surname. Well, and's an add-on. It's an epithet. It's an add-on. So they're adding your surname to your Christian name.
There you go.
So now what I've done, because obviously because we use the and within our trust, and again you turn and around. What does that spell? DNA. So you know we sort of like see some sort of like links between it and stuff. So anyway, so I had it all done with the and in it on my passport, and again. I'd done it. Obviously, I've got a passport and I've never used it. I've never been abroad. But it was I got this to use as ID. Do you get what I mean? So instead of using their birth certificate and all that, this is what I pull out.
Yeah.
This is my ID. Whether you accept it or you don't, that's here or there. I stand under it.
Yeah.
Do you see what he just said? You see what did you hear them words he just said there? It's what
stand under.
It's what he believes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Fuck everybody else. If you know that this is your identification, like a title deed or a ID card or whatever, and your thumbprint or your blood or whatever you want to put on it,
your truth.
That's your. There you go. It's your truth. Good words there.
Truth.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So not only obviously do I have that, but then I can then register this within my trust, so it will go into my manor roll book. So again, it will become a legal document within my trust.
How do you register?
How long does it last for?
Well, you register it within my trust, so I have a manor roll book. So everything goes in my manor roll book. So it's like, you know, this is your life. You know, this is your life when, you know, the TV program, this is your life. That's what it is. It's a manor roll book of my life. That's what it is.
Can you see now what he's doing? He's actually taking charge and administrating his company business.
No, that's fine. So, but in terms of the cost of that, then, Aaron, how much was it for the passport, birth certificate, and so on?
I mean, like I say, you can go for just the passport. It depends what you want. I mean, I went for the like say the birth certificate and everything else. I think it all comes to about 150 odd quid. I think something like that. So it's not loads of money, you know.
Yeah.
You have to put the surname on.
I'm sorry, Aaron.
Yes.
Well, could you just tell us what type is written inside your passport, if there is a type box? What letter is denoted in? If there is one,
should be along the top.
It should say type and P. Your P.
P is a P. Yeah.
What does that mean then?
Pleb.
Yeah, but the thing about it, he hasn't got it as a limited company passport, world passport.
No,
I think
that might change once you said, because the thing about it, I mean, like, we know, okay, let's take Harrods for example. We know there is a limited company. We know the guy Harrod or whatever, blah blah blah. He's probably got a diplomatic passport. But
Carl, the problem I've got with the diplomatic passport, do we have to look at the word diplomat as how we generally would look at the word diplomat, or do we have to look at it in a totally different manner? Because if we're looking at it as a diplomat, we kind of think, oh, you're working on behalf of a government, or do we have to say ourselves is our own government?
There you go.
And so I want that diplomat passport, but I want it for myself, not as a state or as someone would be working.
You should say that, you see, Fabian, because there is something called plenipotentiary, yeah? And it basically means that you're an ambassador, or you're the authority of a state or an organization, or say whatever you want it to be. So if you're going to make yourself the plenipotentiary, your organization, whatever it is, and it could in a sense create a passport, birth certificate, driver's license for you in your plenipotentiary status. And that should basically mean it should be accepted by all other nations as well.
That's what the director is, the plenipotentiary. You know, he does the same thing with the David Weir Miller side of things.
Yeah, yeah.
So again, when I get all my documents, it also come with like couple of other little bits, like it gives you all the declarations within there, so you know what you're going off. Hold on. And then you get this, so you can hand this to them, and it basically clearly tells them what you're using. So basically, on here, it's got this certificate that Aaron James Ann Sexton is the holder of the world passport number, blah blah blah, issued on the 24th of June 2020, and it's from the World Service Authority, World Office in Washington DC. This world passport is sanctioned by Article 13, Section 2 of the Declaration of Human Rights, approved by the General Assembly of the United Nations on 10th of December 1948. And then it just goes on and on and on. Basically, it just explains to them what you've done, what you're doing. And like I say, majority of them try and brush you off. It's down to you to stand under it, and you get what I mean.
Yeah, someone's got their microphone on. We can hear other stuff going on in the background, so we need to.
It's Fabian.
You turned it off now.
Fabulous.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do. They're going to keep trying to fob.
Sorry, is that you, Caroline? What's that?
How much was a passport? Just a passport.
If you just type in World Passport in Google, I think it's .org, you'll get the web page that comes up. And all you do is download the document, you fill the document in, like I say, it'll ask for you to get it notarized. But like I say, because I've got a trust and I've got my own stamps, I've stamped it myself, so I've notarized it myself.
Do you have to put a surname on that, do you think, Aaron?
Like I say, when you fill in the form, it does. But like I say, you know, it basically tells you to be legit in what you're putting in and all that. But that's what I mean. I put the James Ann Sexton, and they accepted it without no questions asked.
Aaron, when you fill the form in, could you put that as Aaron and then as your surname?
Yeah.
I should think you probably could, Steve. Yeah. I mean, I have got the form somewhere that I filled in. I dig it out. I mean, I thought I'd lost that just a minute ago. I found everything else besides that. That's why it took so long. But I'll find the form that I filled out, and then, like I say, if we do another minute, I'll give it to Leslie, and Leslie can pass it around to everyone else, and I'll give it Leslie, give it to Caroline, and Caroline can give it to her, or, you know, for the other gentleman and whatever else.
And you down as Mr. on that?
Sorry, is that passport?
You're down as Mr. Aaron.
What's that?
Or you're down as Mr. MR?
No, there's no Mr. or anything on there. That's what I mean. I made sure there was no Mr. or anything on it. I made sure it was all lowercase and not uppercase. And it does ask you that on the document. But you can have it in lowercase.
Okay.
Nikki, what was you going to say?
Is that passport subject to legislation?
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
He said, "Is
Can
this
anybody hear me?
passport subject to legislation?" I
suppose you're only subject to legislation if you consent to it, don't you? Because that's what we're all fighting now anyway. So if you know, that just goes out the window to me, because I don't stand under legislation. So yeah, I stand under. No one can have a higher authority than yourself. You know, and like I say, you get the government and all this and all that saying this, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. Well, then if you're claiming you've got authority over me, then surely slavery hasn't been abolished.
There you go. There you go.
You've got to stand under what you believe in, and it's, you know, that's what is it called? No, but that's basically what you're saying. I hold the authority. There's no one above me.
And that's what you're doing with the limited company. You're taking everything of that name and knowing that having the intellectual property right to that name, you are the only sole user of that name unless you give other people consent to use that name. So if you want to go and get a business passport in that name, you can do, because you're giving that consent as a director. It's simple what they've tied us up with, and it's very clever what they've tied us up with. But again, I mean, like, there's so many different questions we all are asking. And they're the questions kind of like, I'm saying, me personally, I'm saying I'm asking some basic questions first. I don't know about you guys, but this is what I'm going to be asking to these people when I need to get what I need to get.
I don't know. Some of the letters that we write, mate, we're going for the kill, I think.
No, but this is it. But the thing about it, again, it's the same thing. It comes back down to the language again. If they're, as you say, if they're writing your name down as capital letters, the first question I'm asking is, what language are you actually using to write this name? And they have to.
I sort of like the idea of that passport, Aaron. I really do. The only thing I'm thinking of, well, is a couple of things. The first thing is a passport type is still P. But the second thing is it's going to be subject to some kind of legislation somewhere, because I mean, the corporation is going to be registered somewhere. This World Service Authority. Did he say that it's in Washington?
Where you say this is subject to legislation, it's not. It's subject to the Declaration of Human Rights. This is what this is all about. We have the right to move freely. You have the right to go to another country. We have the right to travel, move around, and you have the right to return.
I'm going to put that in the chat. So yeah, I think I've just put that in the chat based on what you just said. But the thing is, if it's registered in Washington DC, but of course it's part of the Crown, isn't it? Washington DC. It's 3 states: Vatican, the Crown, and the City of London.
I mean, like I say, it is obviously registered somewhere. But obviously the idea of me got this was so that I can use the name that I'm using, and I had ID to go with that name. Do you get what I mean? And that's now what I can stand under.
Yeah.
You know, because I've got 7 children. I can't afford to go on holiday anyway. So,
me and you together, mate. Same thing.
I mean, like, John's totally aware on YouTube. He speaks a lot about it. The ICCPR, which is the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights. So they kind of like are a law thing, which I think looks over the world passport. Because I know I've heard about it, and I know John's talks about a lot about that. Totally, yeah, aware, yeah, totally something like Eternally Aware. He's on YouTube. Eternally Aware, good guy to listen to actually. John Spirit.
Because those conventions, countries can't use local legislation to trump the terms of the convention. So that's the highest law, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The International Civil and International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights, the ICCPR. Yeah. They overlook everything, I think. So if they're allowing that to happen, then as Leslie says, because remember, every country has a different religion as well. They're going to have to follow their rules and religions or by whatever they just. So they just stand above that.
We need to be careful with the word citizen though and civil, because what we want is human rights. We don't want say civil rights. We need human rights.
Yeah, this is it.
That's really interesting. That is. I mean, I've posted a few links on the chat.
Yeah.
To do with the World Service Organization. So that's what you've just sent then, Aaron. So that's what you mentioned. So you mentioned the World Service Authority. You mentioned Article 13. So of course I'll put that there.
Yeah, and I'll dig out the site in a minute where I've got the passport from. I'll stick it in the chat and then you can all take it. And if you go on there, you can look it up. You can look into details. And you can see that they are being stamped. But then there's the other side of it where people do have trouble with it because you know, they're going to stand under the legislations or whatever else, and they're going to say, well, no, you can't, you're not allowed to use it. We need like a UK passport, blah this and blah that. You've just got to stand your ground with it because that's your right to do so under the human rights.
Do you know which country?
That's what it's all about.
Aaron, do you know which country?
I did a little search before I done it, and like I say, you know, you see that they are being stamped. And I've even seen like well-known people have applied for these. So sorry?
Put the link, please, Leslie, because you said that, I mean, somewhere you can actually see on the site.
If you go onto that World Service Org, I think they've got a page in there that shows successful entries made using...
Yeah, that's it.
So it's on that site, Michael.
Have you got that link to hand, Leslie?
Yeah, I think Michael's put it up in the chat, I think. World Service.
If I'm looking for the successful ones, I can't see that. I can't see where to find the successful ones.
It's definitely on that page.
It is on there. You've just got to go through that site. It is on that site. You will find it.
Yeah.
I think with the world passport, we still need a visa.
Oh, that's a good question.
With the world passport, we still need a visa. We're not free. It's like the passport we have now.
No, not that I'm aware of, no.
I checked it before and we need one. Maybe they changed it.
I don't think you do need...
hang on. Countries in capital letters indicate de jure or an official recognition of the world passport. WSA requests travellers to send photocopies or scans of visa /entry/exit stamps to Washington, D.C. So, yes, it looks like you are going to need a visa.
And with a diplomatic passport, do you need a visa?
Probably
not. I wouldn't have thought so because you're outside legislation, aren't you? All over the world.
Then that was the question I was going to ask them. Is that, you know, with the passports kind of deciding is going to be the best one. We want one. It's not really about status, but you know, obviously you want one that negates all of that rigmarole and stuff as far as like entering whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not like when we're traveling into. Well, I want to travel in the world, but the entire world. But it comes down to whether the passport is relevant and attaches to the status of what we're developing in with the limited company and everything, you know. So like if you don't need a what's it called, a visa, if you have a passport that requires you not to need any type of visa, then that would obviously be the better one, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
My question to add to that, Daniel, basically would be the question I would ask is who is traveling?
Man or woman will be traveling.
Yes, but a man and woman can't travel. Well, they can't. Sorry, they can't. They can travel, but they can't. They can't go on a plane. Men and women can't go on a plane.
What?
Only businesses can.
Yeah.
Really?
Because a company is doing a business with another company.
Of course, they're selling.
There you go. So you men and women can't go on planes. Only company. That's why your name is written in capital letters in your passport, because it's an implied company. You don't now. If your company is sending, if your limited company is sending someone on behalf of the company, then that limited company name is going to be written down. It's the company you're sending. You're not sending yourself as a man and woman. You're sending the name. The name is a company. Stop referring yourself as being the name. You're not the name. The name is the company. You just hold charge and responsibility and liability for the company. So you can't go on a plane, Daniel. As Daniel, the man I know, the man I shake his hand and say, and talk. You can't go on a plane. You have to be put on a plane as a company, because a contract, the company who's carrying you as a company is a company. British Airways is a company. Yeah. They can't take men and women and give them a contract. They can only take another company and give that a contract.
That's why I was asking about the ID card that we were working on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The ID card is only just basically to show other people, in a certain sense, who you are, any authoritative body. If you, as Aaron said, if you want to relate to that as your ID identification, you relate to it. No one can tell you what you can use for ID.
That's it. No one can force me to use anything else. That's my ID. You accept it or you don't. It's your choice.
That's it. If they want to go against that because they're working for a corporation and they're using arbitrary power against you, underneath that corporation, you can sue the corporation for that staff member's arbitrary power use of against you.
Because again, you would use the Declaration of Human Rights, and you would pursue that, and then you would obviously take that to The Hague or wherever else where they deal with.
And because you are the director in charge of that company name, they are going to be writing down on someone's document or whatever, you got them, because there was no contract with your company, their company in the first place.
You see, Harry and Meghan, all right, they're no longer part of the royalty, right? I think they've thrown them out personally. But what type of passport do they use?
None of my business.
I'm just asking. I know it's none of our. I'm just asking. You know, at the end of
I don't really care. Do you know what? That doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I'm just saying. It's most likely it's the type of passport that we're talking about.
Probably.
They mostly still have a diplomatic or whatever passport that the royals use. They mostly still have that.
Well, basically, okay. So look at it this way, right? When you look at the word person, and we've broken that down, and you look at the word natural person, there's two definitions of the word natural. There's the natural born subject, which is in the line of the king and the queen and the aristocrats and stuff, or there's the natural born fool. I'm sure they're going to be the natural born subject, so they're going to have a natural born subject passport. We're the natural born fool, so we just got the natural born fool passport, which is the P. Do you see? It's the way how we perceive ourselves as Aaron says. No one can take what you are seeing as yourself to be. No one can take that away from you.
But the concern I've got with that is, but if somebody says that I'm my own person, I'm sui juris, I can do whatever I want. No, you can't. Yeah. If you look at William Blackstone's commentaries on the laws of England, going back to the 1700s, the rights of the individual, an individual does have rights, but you've only got rights where someone else's starts. Yeah. And basically, you also have a duty to the society in which you're living in. Okay. So yes, you can do whatever you want as long as you're not committing harm, injury, loss, etc. But whilst you're here and you're interacting with others, unfortunately, because of the way that the systems have evolved, the systems of governments, of corporations and so on, they basically are the intermediaries now between our God-given rights and the products and services that we want. Even food, even water, but they're controlling everything. So if they're going to say, I'm the gatekeeper, I want you to show me your ID, you're going to have to show some kind of ID that they're going to recognize. It doesn't mean to say that it's got to come from the state. Maybe, yes, you can create your own, but it's got to be acceptable to them as well. And that's why I think it's important for us to find out exactly what all of these rules and regulations are. But in
So
terms
you're saying that they're going to need some type of ID. Now, the most recognized ID is your title deed, your company, because you have a company number, a registration number. That's the thing. Everything is done via business. Nothing can be done between men and women. Nothing. It depends on if you want to hold responsibility and take liability for the actions what your company does, because you are the director of your company. If you are honest and honorable man or a woman, fine. Run your company how you go, where you're going to run your company. If you know that your company isn't going to earn 125,000 every year, you don't need to register that company at HMRC for tax. They will tell you that. If I want to travel around the world on my own passport, and I know that my passport says the limited company, fine. If it doesn't say the limited company, how am I traveling? What are you traveling me as? Because I'm traveling as a company, but who's taking responsibility and liability for that company? I'll take responsibility and liability for that company. Thank you.
I was talking to Caroline the other day, and there's something that, because I've been thinking about it, Caroline, and it makes perfect sense. Right? Do you know when you get stopped by the police or whatever, and if you say to them, what's their name? They're going to say, I'm PC Plod. I'm number 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. You could just as easily say, I'm company number 1, 2, 3, 4, 8900. Yeah. And that's who you are.
That's it.
And because the only way that you can interact with him is through the corporation. And then, and then as soon as he says, hang on a minute, who's that? Do your research. And then, of course, you'll find out that you're on company's house. And then you say to him, can you show me the contract between us?
There you go. Because it's the limited company
contract. Off you go.
Remember, they're trained to write your name down in black ink and capital letters. Black ink stands for contract. The capital letter wording means you're an implied company. So the Metropolitan Police Limited could have a contract with your implied company because they're writing it down as capital letters. As soon as you state that, what Michael's just said about, yes, here's the limited company number. You just give them your number. They give you their number. You give them your number.
But then you've just contracted with them.
No, you haven't.
No.
If you've given the limited company number.
No.
But then, Steve, if you used to do that, but that's all right though, Steve, because they've still got to accept your terms and conditions. The contract works 2 ways. It's not just one way. They've got to accept your terms and conditions. So if they want to contract with you, that's down to them. But the chances are they're going to run like fuck.
Yeah.
More,
you know.
Well, if all you're doing, Steve, is you're just identifying yourself.
That's it.
The same way that they. So, I mean, of course, they're going to identify themselves as PC Plod 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to identify yourself as 12, 12, 6, 6, 7, 7.
Well, that's all right. Hang on. If they don't identify themselves as a police constable, they're then an officer, which is a private company. Yeah. And if you give them your company number, you're contracting with with their company.
These are the terms and conditions of my contract.
Wait, hold up. But you're not contracting. You're not contracting. You're negotiating. Because the thing about it, what it is, you are standing in the shoes and under the limited company what you own. Whether you're the director or whether you're a staff member, they're standing under the contract or the terms and conditions of what their company has. Now, if your company director hasn't sat down, negotiated with their company director about any contracts on you traveling around and doing what you're doing, then they can't do you nothing. Because it's not in their hands, because they cannot use arbitrary power. Because if they start using the power against you to say, well, yeah, blah, 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 it's the man and the man having a contract. He doesn't want to have a contract with you, or he will show you his full identification, name, address, date of birth, whatever. like he's asking you.
Yeah.
But he's asking you because he wants the implied company details. When
But
you,
if you're-
sorry, go on.
When you're a limited company, you're better put in place. If you're going to use that number as ID when they stop you, you better put in the police on notice and give them your terms and conditions before it gets to anything like
Yeah,
that.
of course.
Before it gets to anything like
Yeah,
that.
of course. That's why we write. That's why we're writing letters to the head of police, Cressida Dick, to
Yeah.
say, well, look, if any of your officers stop us, I'm holding you fully liable and responsible because this is your staff. This is your staff.
I did that about a year and a half ago. I did an electoral contract to Cressida Dick. The next thing you know, I had solicitors' letters come through the door from her solicitors asking, was I putting a claim in?
That's it.
I'll have to dig them out as well. I've got letters from her solicitors.
Because the thing about it,
they misinterpreted the whole thing. No, I'm putting you on notice. This is the terms and conditions. If you arrest me unlawfully, batter me, blah this, blah that, this is what it's going to cost you, blah this. And they thought I was already putting a claim in. No.
This is it.
Serious, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing about it, you, as I said, you are the director of your company now. Now you've got to go and speak to the CEOs or the CFOs of each of these companies and discuss and negotiate your contract on what your company is going to be doing within the waters they're protecting. The police protect the United Kingdom. You don't live in United Kingdom, you live in England. Your company floats in United Kingdom.
And so that's the same on my passport. It's down England. I live in England.
This is it. So he's a man of England. He can be a director of a company. He's just got a passport to travel with as a man. He hasn't got a passport for his company to travel because he doesn't have a company just yet in that certain respect. So that's what I'm saying. The business is always going to be done between two companies. Men and women can't do business unless it's between them one-on-one themselves, and they're probably doing bartering or whatever we do. Or we do a favor for each other. You see, that's the way we pay each other in a certain sense as men and women.
That's how men and women operate. It's love thy neighbour and all that, isn't it? It's like you barter with each other. If you give me that, I'll do this for you. That's how men, women.
This is it.
Can I take you back a bit? Can I just take you back a bit? So you've just said something which is really important there, Carl, in the sense that you've just said that a corporation can only contract with a corporation. Aaron has now got his passport and birth certificate. Okay, that was issued by a corporation, wasn't it, Aaron?
Oh, I presume so. Some, well,
but yet they've given it to a living man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
because basically that corporation is literally, I should imagine, they stand solely under the human rights of and all that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
So he's given his consent as a man to stand under somebody else's corporation, which is going to take the liability and responsibility for the things that he does.
It's contracted.
Yeah. As a man, no, he hasn't contracted in a certain respect. He's given consent.
Well, a man or a woman can contract with a corporation.
No, they can't. A man and a woman can contract with another man and woman.
If it's a proper contract with two wet ink signatures, they can.
Yes, between two men and women. But the wet ink signature can only come from a man or a woman. It can't come from a company.
Yeah, no, there's no, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying.
Well, it can come from a limited company.
No, it can't, because a limited company can't write.
Hang on. A limited company has a person with significant control.
Yes, but that's a man.
No, as a man. Yeah, but
that's a man or a woman. So
when you go back to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, right, it clearly states Article 21. What is the world government of world citizens? Article 21, Section 3 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights state that the will of the people shall be the basis of the authority.
That's it.
Of the government.
And I think if you look at Article 8.2, I think it says that no man shall be held in servitude.
That's right. So again, so where I've, like I say, whether I have contracted with them or not, that's here or there. I don't mind, because the fact is I know what they're standing under, and that is my rights to be free to travel and do whatever else. I know people that have got them and they've gone to the airport and used them, and they won't let them through, and they have to sit there for hours and then argue with them, blah this and blah that. But I know then eventually they have to let them through because they're breaching their human rights.
It's good that you bring this up, because the thing about it, what I do fail to look at as well myself sometimes is actually international law, because there is international law, and that's what a lot of law is made under. We're just focusing on what the United Kingdom legislation and statutes are. If we look above that, as Aaron says, if we go higher than that, as Leslie says, if we go higher than that, as Michael says, if we go higher than that, we can go higher than that. But the thing about it, if we're looking at ourselves as plebs, as the P on the passport, for example, we're not going to be the ones knowing how to actually successfully run a proper company. None of us are successful business owners at the moment. So for us to then take on our name as a limited company, we have to make that a successful business. But the thing about it is a successful business, because whatever all of us have done, we've become a success in our own right. And we've done what we've done. Some of us have cars, some of us have houses, some of us have this. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's still been our accomplishments. It's just that we don't hold the full power to that property we've gained over the years. Once we establish it and we put it into something that's not incumbent to any other office, which a limited company isn't. A limited company is not incumbent to the United Kingdom's legislations and statutes. They're not. Because they're not in United Kingdom. As Steve pointed out earlier on, Companies House is much higher, and it's on England and Wales. It's not in United Kingdom. We go to England and Wales to buy our companies to then be floated in United Kingdom if it wants to go into them waters and stand under those legislations and statutes. That's my belief in how I see it. So if companies are going in there, they've given us certified copy of an entry. Now, the certified copy of an entry is classed as the birth certificate, which nobody really looks at the real name of it. It doesn't say birth certificate on the document. So we cannot class it as a birth certificate. It's a certified copy of an entry. Entry into what is the question? What a lot of people have asked. Entry into a country because your name is written down as a capital letter, which is a ship floated in maritime law and admiralty law. Are you a ship doing business and commerce? That's the question. So if you are, well, if I see that I am and they're seeing me that way, I'm going to go and take charge of that ship and be the captain of it. So I bought the company and showed interest in it. So from that, no other company now can have a contract with this limited company unless I agree to that as the director and negotiate a deal with their director. So if Boris Johnson is a director of the government, I'm having a word with Boris Johnson as the director of my government. Because remember, United Kingdom is just a limited company like you and me. Well, some of you. You know, I'm a limited company, so I'm like United Kingdom because United Kingdom is a limited company. I'm on the same status. I'm a country in itself. I just haven't got a seal, a flag, coat of arms, and an army behind me to enforce. I just don't have that behind me. But I'm on the same status as United Kingdom. I can have business passports for many of my staff members if I wanted to, like the United Kingdom does. United Kingdom has many passports for their citizens. I can cast them limited citizens and make a flag. I could do that tomorrow if I wanted to. But what's the point? I'm just trying to keep the people off my back who's claiming they have rights against me, saying they're going to charge me for this and they're going to charge me for that. And they don't even own what they're trying to sell me. Gas, for example, or I don't even say gas, I just say natural resources. Why are you trying to sell me natural resources in a cover? Why don't you telling me, oh, I'm going to put a gas machine in your house and charge you for the rent of the gas machine? They know I'll go and buy my own bloody gas machine and won't pay for theirs. Because they ain't going to charge me for gas, because they can't, because gas is a natural resource. As Aaron says, we go higher than that. Gas was given to the earth. We are men and women of the earth. I'm not a freedom fighter, but I'm just saying, look, I'm trying to take control of what's going on with me.
The thing is, no matter how corrupt these people are, they're all hinged to the Bible. And the earth, the sea and everything was given to us as dominion.
Yeah.
So they can claim they have authority over it as much as they like, but they don't. They only get it because you consent and allow them, and you allow them to force their terms and conditions on you.
That's it. But they're not forming. I totally agree with what Aaron's saying, but to keep going back, they're not forcing them on you. They're forcing them on the implied company they made you.
That's it. Yeah. And again, same as every time you register, like you say, you register for a passport, that's under the company that they're claiming. And that's how they then contract with you.
That's why your passport.
That's when you register your car. Again, it's all about, because again, it all comes back, same when you go get a bank account, it all comes back to capitalisation.
Business, it's business. That's all it is. It's business, man. They're running a business scam on us. That's it. They're hustlers, man. They're hustlers exactly the same way every man is. Well, it's, as they say, survival for the fittest. Remember, as Aaron says, they use the biblical side of things or whatever. Okay, in the biblical side, they say that man can subdue. The subdue, when you look at the etymology dictionary, and you look up the word subdue, it comes down to seduce and deceive. So if they want to seduce you and say, here, have a driving license, have a passport, blah, 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 and you take that, they're deceiving you because you have to stand under them terms and conditions that comes with. You don't have to consent to that. We can just work our way around it and go a different way. We then break their bank account and make our bank account bigger. It's just questions we've got to ask, I believe. I think instead of trying to claim this and trying to take this and trying to point them out that they're doing this to us and they're doing that to us, it's like, well, let's just ask some questions. Very basic, simple questions that we can ask the child. What language are you writing in? If you can answer me that question, then we can have a conversation. Other than that, you're... And I'm not letting nobody over no more. Sorry for the language, ladies and gentlemen.
Your mic's on, off. Daniel.
I said, yeah, so it's a good thing that, thank you. So it's a good thing my children stepped out the room there. Anyway, what about, can we move now to move on to another part of the agenda, which is, you know, so there was people dealing with the passports. Fabian, where are you? Fabulicious. You had a list of everybody that was doing what. Anyway, so there's a driving license, Caroline, and there was and Leslie. You were, what was you doing again, Leslie?
Me and Marilyn are doing birth notification form.
Okay. Okay, how's that going?
Well, Marilyn and I have not had a chance, primarily because I've had so much on my plate, to actually have a chit chat outside of this meeting yet. But we've been looking at freedom of information requests around the BNF and about the GRO registration. We've not really made much progress, to be honest, to report.
Can I just interject there? Sorry, Leslie. Yeah. Daniel, yeah, as you see, because kind of like I'm not looking at being but anyway, as Fabian was saying about I'm overseeing the stuff. If you notice, I've written a couple of template letters. They're just very template. Yeah. But all I'm doing is writing these letters and I'm just saying, look, these are the kind of questions I would be putting in my letters if I was asking them questions. You see, because it's all about asking questions. I don't want to go in there and say, yeah, blah, 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 which we usually would do, because we know how much legal side and stuff we've studied, all of us. We know how much we've done. But I think we're not asking the basic, simple questions. And this is, I think, what we should be doing. That's the only thing I can say, man.
I think you're right, because it is all hinging on challenging the basic presumptions that they operate the bait and switch by. So it's a very good point, and it's something we do in the trust, isn't it, Steve and Aaron and Dav?
Yeah, because again, when you go on the government website, it clearly tells them how they should be writing to you.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't be using the all uppercase.
No.
It clearly tells you. And again,
you're frozen, Aaron.
Say that again, Aaron.
He's frozen. He's frozen. But yeah, what he was saying
Say
about
it
the
again,
government.
Aaron. We can't hear you, Aaron.
He's frozen. He's frozen, Daniel. But what he's saying about the government.
I know, but you can keep talking to him and you'll realise.
All right, Aaron, go ahead. Sorry, you're back.
yeah, basically on the government website, it clearly tells these corporations how they should be writing to you. And again, they shouldn't be using all this uppercase. And again, there's certain papers that they're not allowed to be writing on, like command paper and stuff like that, and they are using them.
Yeah. If you look at, as Aaron says, if you look on the government style guide, they even tell you don't write in block capital letters and blah, blah, blah. And then they show you the acronyms, what acronyms are and blah, blah, blah. So they're knowing what they're doing. We just don't question anything and let them know that we know what they're doing. If we start letting them know what they're doing, they're going to have to pull their socks up because they can get into a lot of trouble. But we're not making them aware. It's exactly the same thing I said to Caroline. Sorry to bring her up again, but she was in the post office and she was asking about the passport, blah, blah, blah. And I said to her, ask him about the business passport and is there an application or whatever? Because when she asked him, he didn't know about it. So because he didn't know about it, I then ask him to get in touch with the Home Office or whoever to find out if there's an application or what's the process of getting one. Because if we make those behind the counter aware, then they're having questions asked from the inside now. We're trying to ask questions from the outside, but the way we're delivering our questions or however we're dealing with it, we're not getting nowhere. And all I want to know is the truth. What are you doing, man? You've got my life in your hands. So supposedly, and you're allowing me to get fines and this and that in this implied company name, artificial legal person name or whatever. I'm using the full name. It's the legal name you're asking me for the surname, as Aaron pointed out, the surname, and it's an epithet. It's something that's added to another name. That's why on the birth notification form, it looks like the ledger. You got on the left side, you got blah, blah, blah. On the right side, you got blah, blah, blah. You got the Christian name and you got the surname. You put them two together as the legal name. That's how they get us. Again, it goes back to what they're doing. If we point these things out to them and we let them know that we know they're doing this, they're going to have to change their tactic because all they're doing is putting themselves in an empty pit, which they can't climb out of. Just going off the language alone, the English language.
Look, can you send the link, please, Aaron, for the writing style guide for the government?
Yeah.
Please, can you put it on the chat, please, if you can find it? Thanks.
Yeah, you can Google it. I think if you Google style guide as well, Gov style guide.
Well, yeah, but I've just looked on the government website. I put writing style guide, template writing guide, and there's thousands and thousands of links coming up. So
I've got it somewhere as well on another computer.
Cheers, thanks.
So basically, Carl, what you're saying is basically to hold them to account, hold them accountable.
Of course.
Yeah.
What else can we do?
Yeah.
If we know that what we're looking at as an honourable person, honourable men and women we are, we can sit here and have a decent conversation with one another. There's nothing wrong with that. If I took them same questions to a 10-year-old kid, what language are you reading? You know, he's going to answer me or she's going to answer me. Why can't I take that to a big adult who's trying to deceive me and they can't even answer that?
Yeah.
They want to send you, they want to pass it on to somebody else to answer.
Yeah.
Why? Because they're not being responsible and held liable for that position in the company. They don't want nothing to do with it. But you grab them up by the balls and say, right, this is the man or woman I'm talking to. Because you're talking to me, I'm talking to you as a man and woman. But if you're talking to me as a company, I can only allow the directors or the company staff members to deal with this case. That's what they're doing. They're passing it around in their company. We can pass it around in our company.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's horrible, man. It's horrible.
Can I ask a question, if that's okay?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
I get when they're writing to you in the name, and I get when they're writing to you in the company name. What happens when they write to you like owner occupier? Do you just send that back, or do you?
Yeah, that's nothing to do with you.
Right.
All right, Laurie.
Hey, Aaron.
You all right? Good to hear from you.
Yeah, I'm all right, I suppose. So, because my question is, I'm getting letters from like gas and electricity, and it's to owner occupier. Obviously, I'm not the owner occupier. I have been sending them back, and then they send the police with the supposed bailiffs to come and change the meter.
Yeah.
And the police support the bailiffs. They won't show me any warrants, but supposedly the warrant is also in the name owner occupier. I can't get any of the data out of the court house or anything. So they just come and change the meter because the police enforced it and say they'll arrest me.
Yeah, they will do.
Try and stop them.
They will do. They'll come and change the meter because they don't want the responsibility of paying the debt, what they're putting into that house.
Yeah.
Look at it from a business standpoint. You know,
Sorry, just to interrupt slightly, I'm driving, but I was listening to something this morning, and they were saying very clearly the only reason that they can come in with a warrant is for safety issues. If you've got a gas safety certificate, they have no right to health and safety. That's the only reason they can come and take the meter, or the police can assist them. If you've got a health and safety certificate, then they have no right. They can't come in for monetary. They can only come in for health and safety.
You can write to the gas company, whoever it is, and say, and basically they can come. You can put your own meter on, so they can come. They tell them to come and collect their meter.
Yeah.
And you can put your own meter on, because it's the meter what's
and
there.
Not only that, not only that, but did they give you a safety certificate after they reconnected it? Because if they didn't, they could put you in danger. That makes sense?
No, they didn't give me a safety certificate, and when I phoned up to get it, they've all denied that they've even put the meter in.
Wow.
What?
Oh,
Laurie.
take it out then.
Laurie,
The thing about, sorry, go on, Steve.
if they're denying putting it in, get it in writing off them.
Yeah, I did get in writing.
Good.
That's all right then. Take their meter out, put your own meter in.
The thing about it, because they know, because there's no owner or there's nobody who wants to step forward and take liability and responsibility for it, then they probably have to leave it as an open meter. So what they've done, they've made it out, but wait for a while, see if you get any bills or anything else from any gas company who's going to take on the responsibility of dealing with that.
Yeah, I have had bills, but they've supposedly added the outstanding debt onto the meter.
So who's it made out to, the bill?
Owner occupier since whatever date.
Nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you.
They can't take owner occupier to court, can they?
No, they can't. They can't.
No,
so they
but
have to come in
all
and
they
take
do
the
is-
meter.
All they do is put the meter in, and then you then actually have to take control of it for you to even supply it for you to get a supply in your house.
Well, no. The thing about it, that's just like basically, as I was saying before, it's like tell them to come and attach the pipes back to where they were in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because gas is a natural resource, and the pipe and everything else has been laid, and everything else that's all been paid for.
Yeah.
It's a prepayment meter.
Yeah, prepayment meter.
Yeah, it's a prepayment meter, and what happens is because they did that to me, I've only just realised because it was a long time ago where they came and I was at work and Mum was in, You know what I mean? And they came with a bailiff and they came with police. And
Yeah.
I had to converse with them over the phone and all this in my break at school. And they were saying, look, there's nothing to worry about. All it is just coming to put a meter in and so on and so forth, to change it over to a, what's the name? Right. You know, I was like, I don't agree with this. But that was years ago. Anyway, so I've been used to just having...
Go on mute. Can I go on mute, please?
Caroline, you behind...
Sorry.
Yeah, so and they and it's just been like that ever since. And I've been trying to change it back to a normal meter for the longest time, and this is years, and they're still telling me that I owe. I'll tell you something, man. I need to change a meter. I just need to change that meter. So the mine's electric. So your one's gas, Laurie?
Well, they tried to do both. The first one they came for was the gas in September 2019, sorry. They came for the gas in 2019, but the number on their form was not the number that was on the meter because it had already been changed. And we'd already notified them, telling them to come get their equipment. So they were aware that there was no contract. They were aware that we were not owner-occupier. And then they've got snuck off to the court to get this supposed warrant, and the police have backed them. Now, when they looked at the box and the gas guys actually realised it's not that number, he's jumped over the fence, ran away, because now he knows that could actually get caught as a lie, because he said that it was a gas safety thing, but it can't be a gas safety thing if he's not even got the right number.
Well, can't you put them on notice to come and remove it? And then
They never changed that one. That's what I'm saying. So that was 2019. Then 3 months later, they got somebody to come for the electric, and this time there was no number on the warrant. They're just making up that it's dangerous, whatever. So they changed the meter along with the police, tried to arrest me. So they changed the electricity meter. Now that has been removed afterwards because at the end of the day there is no contract. That's the basis that we're going on. It's still for owner-occupier. So they're now coming back for the gas to try and do the gas again. That's why I'm asking.
Can't you put them on
the thing about it, it's like...
answer the question, please. Can we stick to something? Because I need to get to the bottom of this as well. If you put them on notice to remove it, but then you're going to get them in tacit acquiescence. And because, of course, they're not going to say, oh, no, we're not going to remove it, or this, that, the other. And if they don't remove it in 14 days or 28 days, but then you can get your own qualified engineer to come and remove the meter, and then you can put your own meter in, and you can charge them £400-500 a month storage fee, unless they come and remove the meter.
Michael, this is what I'm saying. I've done those letters. I've put them on notice. I've charged them these fees on paper. And what I'm saying is they've got a court, they've got police, they've got gas people that turn up, and it's just a matter of they're using force to enforce their, let's be honest, unlawful and illegalities that they're doing. So I've got a gas safety certificate, but I'm just saying that this is what they're doing. So I didn't know if there was another solution, what with me being owner-occupier, if it was better to put it in the name so that then they couldn't do it. I don't know, that's what I was asking.
The thing about it, I mean, like from what I'm hearing here, basically, is that how, yes, you're right. They're putting everything as a pay-as-you-go system. So it doesn't matter whose name is on the property. Whoever's there, they're gonna get their money anyway. It's all about a debt thing for them.
Yeah.
They have to pay their debt. So basically, if it's owner-occupier, no one's stepping forward to actually take responsibility for the gas what's being supplied there. So they're going to make it a key meter and pay as you go. That's the only way they're going to get money out of the owner occupier, as we call it.
Yeah.
If it was a limited company or whatever, then what is your agreement for the gas? Because the company should be providing gas to you, but they're not actually providing gas.
Yeah, we've written to them and said that. We've said that they're trying to do this deemed contract on us. That's what they're saying.
But hold up 1 second. But are you going in as the limited company?
No, I have. That's what I'm saying. I haven't. I've gone in as the woman.
Right. No, but what I'm saying to you, you're going in as the woman who is owned by the system because you've got a passport, birth certificate, whatever. They're seeing you like that. They can't do a contract with a woman.
Right.
So they're saying we can do a contract with you, but it has to be a company. That's why your name will be written down in uppercase if they write to you with your name.
Right.
Because your company name is an implied company and they're looking to do a contract with another company. So if you're the company and you've taken responsibility for that, you will be the director of your company. Now, you can go and have a word with the supplier of the instrument being used and saying, right, what's the negotiations? And you can talk to their director because they're claiming that they're supplying gas. They're not supplying gas. They're supplying a meter.
Yeah.
So are you going to be paying £50 a month or £100, £150 a quarter for that meter? But you can just go down the road and buy one and put it in.
Yeah.
You see, so you have to negotiate the contract between the two companies because it's the two companies who's doing the business.
Right.
It's not the woman versus the company. You're going in as the director of your limited company, saying to their limited company, right, I know you provide only the meter. You don't provide gas because that's a natural resource and that can stand up in the court of law.
Yeah.
You can tell them that. But what is your company providing my company under my company business address? So what's the negotiation? Am I going to just buy a meter off you and then I'll just put it in there and then you can claim it and I'll accept the value? If you want to do the administrative work to say that I use this amount of gas over the period of a year and you're going to tell the Treasury that, cool. If you want to do that, we can negotiate that as well. Because all you're doing, you're just saying this is how much gas you've used in out of your gas supply of your natural resource. Because we all own natural resources. So what's stopping you from using your portion of your natural resource to supply your house with? Nothing.
Has anyone done that? Whatever, changed the meter. Has anyone actually changed the meter in their house in this group?
Yeah. Well, I know. When I used to hang with him, basically, we was going through whatever we was doing there. He had a young lady, mixed race lady, and she went and she basically told the gas people to come and get their meter. They came, took their meter off. She got her own plumber to put the meter on. The gas people checked it. He checked it, blah, 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 gas, whatever. She don't pay gas no more.
I've got my own. Gas and electric.
I was gonna say I didn't want to pick on you again, Caroline, but I wasn't sure if it was you.
Remember, it's a business. It's a business.
Well, yeah. Well, hang on then. So if there's precedent, but then why is Laurie having issues?
Can I just say something? As I haven't really spoken. I'm doing my hair. That's why I'm putting the camera on. I just think what Caroline said. I think you need to. I mean, has Laurie? Does she have a certificate to say that the gas and electric were safe when they came with the police to take out the meter?
Yeah, I did.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. They took out mine as well. They came with the police and took out mine, but I gave it a week and put my one back in again. So
right,
taking it, but got a better argument this time round. But I think there's quite a few of us on Steve's group that have got our own gas, electricity, and water. No.
So you just bought the meter online and then got someone to put it in?
Yeah, gas safety man, and then got it certified. Yeah.
Gas safety line. Okay.
It's got to be gas safety certificate.
Oh yes, certificate.
Yeah, gas safety. And
Remember,
I do that for the electric, mate. Trust me, I'm going to do that.
Remember again, right? Remember, everything you're doing is for the company. The company has to have health and safety records and this and that and blah blah blah. That's what your company's doing. So if you have a house, your company is responsible for that house. And that's all it's doing. That's all it's saying. So they want to know that who is the contract with. At the moment, because you're not a limited company, they can only have a contract with an implied company who is kind of like supported and safeguarded against via the government because you are one of their subjects. That's all you're doing. And that's why they can take us to court and fine us and this and that in the implied company name. Because you're not taking up a responsibility and saying, look, I'm going to take responsibility for this. If anything goes wrong with it, that's my responsibility. That's my liability. If I blow up the house and next door neighbor blows up the house next door, that's my responsibility.
Well, I don't know if I take responsibility for that. Let's be honest.
No, but I'm just but the company will be taking responsibility. That's the thing about it. It depends on what company name you're in. This is how they do it. We've got to look at how they do it. How does the gas company actually supply us with gas as a company? If we start looking at the terms of that way, then we'll start seeing what they're doing to us. They're just a company supplying. I can go with my company, Limited, with my company, and go to a gas merchant or whatever and say, right, I want to supply gas as a company. So it's going to be CMB Gas Limited. And then I'm going to supply people with gas. I can go and make a meter and go and put it in everybody else's house and hope that none of you lot come knocking on my door.
Laurie?
Yeah.
Is that the same what the police did when they did all them parking tickets, where they just set up a company and...
That's it. They will set up a company just to make money off you. The speeding tickets, the flashy cameras. Some two guys went into the bank and said, look, we got a business idea for the government, blah, 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 blah. Let's put our cameras. We want 10 billion or whatever, how much the money they ask. But what we're going to do, we're going to get the public to pay that debt back. If all of us stood up and said, hold up a minute, I'm not that implied company you're writing to. They're going to have to pay that 10 billion debt back themselves. Goodbye their mansion, goodbye their caviar and champagne breakfast and shit like that. Because they ain't going to take it off me because I know that I'm not the implied company now. They can only do that to the implied company because the limited company doesn't have a negotiated contract with their limited company to say that they're going to, their limited company vehicles or cars are going to pay anything to them. No contracts are being negotiated. I didn't sit down with any, as a director of my limited company, I didn't sit down with any other director from their limited company and discuss any negotiation for contracts. Sorry, I haven't. I can say that in a court of law. Can their company director stand up and say that? No, they can't. Win, hands down, all day long. I'm not an implied company. I am the owner and director of my limited company, and I take business serious. I don't know about it because I was never schooled in it. And I'm sorry for the language.
Can't be swearing again.
You see, I'm not, sorry, I know, I'm sorry. You know me, I'm passionate.
Oh, really?
Sorry. But yeah, I mean, like, the thing about it, man, we've got to start looking at ourselves as, no, I'm not the implied company. You are trying to do business. I'm just trying to look at the books on what they're trying to get us with. They're using the legal books. There's 50% of the legal book they can use against us. There's 50% of the legal book we can rebut against what they're using against us, but we don't read it.
Can I just say that? But Laurie's got a situation now then. So has anyone got any ideas to help her?
Yeah, Laurie.
Yeah.
What's your situation now? Whose meter have you got in your own?
Well, now I've got both of them are my own meter.
No, I mean your gas. Whose gas meter have you got in your own?
My own, yeah.
Well, they can't touch it, can they?
But that's what I'm saying. That's what they're coming back for now. Is
they're trying
to do it under the gas safety thing. I've shown them the gas safety certificate, and I've even asked the company. I've said, please provide the evidence that you supply gas.
So back off.
No, they haven't. They've said they've actually said that they do supply it, which is ridiculous because it says in their deemed contract that they don't. It says that they only supply a meter and statements. This is what I'm saying. It's just, I feel like I'm just dealing with plebs.
The thing about what I'm hearing again, right, on that is basically they're asking for the gas to be accounted for. No one's accounting for that gas you are using.
Right.
So if your limited company is saying, yes, I'm going to be accountable for that, I'm going to let you know, because all they're doing is sending the gas man to read your meter on how much gas you've used. And they're passing that number back to the Treasury or wherever the natural resource is coming from.
Well, they're not even getting access to that because the boxes are locked. So they're not even able to read that. So
no, which is fine, which is fine. But that's what I'm saying. What I'm trying to get to is that how that the gas has to be accounted for.
Right.
Your part of the gas, what you are entitled to, has to be accounted for. So if they're putting I'm
actually going to argue that call.
Sorry?
Can I just explain? Let me finish.
Sorry, Steve.
Caroline, Sorry, Laurie.
Yeah.
Have they sent you a gas bill?
Yeah.
Send them the bank gyro credit slip, sign it, date it, send it back to them. Copy it, registered mail to them. They've been paid for what you owe them. They can't come.
Isn't it in occupier? I thought you said it was in the name of the occupier.
It is.
Doesn't matter what name it's in.
Okay, well then, then do the Jack Bank gyro. Yeah. Keep it out.
Sign it as occupier then.
Yeah.
Fill that gyro credit slip in.
Aaron, your mic's off.
Keep a copy of it, Laurie. And then if they take you
So
to
you should be doing that gyro credit slip the way that we've heard about now.
Accepted for value.
No. You sign it, stamp it.
Yes, but you don't want to be.
We've got two ways of doing it. You can either sign it and date it, send it back. We a DSAR to what it's pertaining to.
So if you send it with a DSAR, then that DSAR will fall under the bills of exchange because they have a duty to discharge it under that gyro credit slip. So that's why you should send it with a DSAR.
And this is where it gets weird, right? Because I've already done something similar. I did an A for V, which is very similar with the bank gyro credit thing. But that was in my name.
Laurie, what I'm saying is, right, these are all tied under the bills of exchange. They should be discharging these gyro credit slips. And that's why if you send that gyro credit slip back with your signature on it and dated it and send it back, they've got a duty then under the bills of exchange to discharge your debt.
I get that, Aaron, but I've not done that either.
But that's why you send the DSAR, because if you ask them specific questions when you're sending that gyro credit slip, they've got to answer it. And if they don't answer it...
Aaron, let me explain. I've done that, and when I've done the DSAR, they've said that it doesn't apply because the account is not in my name.
Right. So who owns the property?
Okay.
Me.
You own the property?
Yeah.
You hold the title deed for the property?
Yeah.
Right. Have you claimed yourself as the limited company?
Literally, I just did that like a week ago. Yeah.
Okay. So from you claim that now, that if your company name is in that, then you ain't got no problems now.
Right.
Because it's the limited, now you become the director of your limited company as your Christian name, not your full legal name. They're after the full legal name, but the thing about it, they're after the owner occupier.
Yeah.
Now, once you take that back as the legal name, then basically you're saying this belongs to the limited company, which isn't incumbent to legislations and statutes of United Kingdom. Sorry.
Right. Yes, Steve?
Right. When you've done the bank gyro credit slip, whose name did you sign it when you sent it in?
My name.
Whose were the gas name in?
Owner occupier since whatever date.
Right. Yeah, that's why they haven't accepted it then.
Right. But then I can't. What they're trying to say is they're trying to say that somebody has to come forward and say that they're responsible for the supply.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of sitting there going, well, how can I come forward and say that I'm responsible for the gas supply? Is that not what you're trying to bill me for?
Well, nobody has to come forward because there's no contract. They're trying to contract with you.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I'll just see. Is there any money owing on gas?
Well, according to them, yeah, lots of money.
Hang on, that's what they're chasing, and they're trying to get a payment meter in so that they can get the money. That's all they're coming for.
That's it.
And they can't do it.
They have to account for what's being basically.
If they've sent you a gyro credit slip in the name of the occupier, I'd sign it, occupier, and send it back.
So, but then the DSAR won't work with that because they'll say that's a non-identifiable, non-natural person, so they don't have to answer the DSAR. It's also a non-identifiable person, so they don't have to answer the DSAR.
Yeah, but so is an occupier. An occupier they can't take to court anyway.
Yeah, but that's why they're not taking me to court. That's why they're doing the bailiffs and the police thing instead. That's what I'm saying to you.
Yeah, well, you need to put the police on notice that they're threatening to enforce an occupier, and they can't do that.
But the police have said
they're stepping out of their jurisdiction for a start. They're stepping out of their jurisdiction for a start because, like I say, you've got a certificate for your gas.
Yeah.
I'd be writing to Chief Constable, put him on notice of what they're threatening you with, and it's aggravated trespass if they come, and it's harassment what they're doing to you. And if the police get involved, you'll prosecute them. But put the Chief Constable on notice of this, what's going on. He won't know what's going on, Laurie.
Right, it's just the people on the bottom.
Yeah. Just put them on notice.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Laurie, do you not have your trust still anymore then?
Aaron, it's kind of an awkward one. I don't know if you know, but my dad passed away.
Yeah,
in December. And the trust is in his name. And in order for me to use the trust, I'd have to get all the stamps redone.
Yeah, but did your dad not make you take his place? No.
Yeah, but if you actually look into the thing,
But
with
is
the
that in his
stamp,
documentation? I think that you should be able to use his stamps.
no, you have to get your own stamps because I've looked into it, and basically I talked about this with Lawrence as well, and Steve even agrees as well. I would have to get my own stamps because I have to have my own stamp for me and a different stamp. Like I can use one of the stamps as the trust, but as a general executor, I'd have to get my own stamp as a general executor that would have my name on it.
Yeah,
and I have to change the coat of
Yeah,
arms.
but for now,
because-
you can still fight a lot of things as a trustee or a beneficiary within it, surely with the other stamps, because you're entitled to use them. It just wouldn't be stamped by the executor, would it?
I really don't know, Aaron. This is the problem I have. I've asked these questions and I never get responses from certain people that you would think would give me a proper response. But I've found as well, whenever I've sent that trust paperwork, it just gets ignored. It doesn't get any kind of real resolution.
See, the way that I see my trust, my private trust, is no one has authority over it besides me. So if I'm having to comply with certain procedures, this and that, then it's not really, I don't really have that control. Do you know what I mean? If someone can tell me this is how you got to do it like this. I think you can still use the other stamps. You just can't use the executor stamp until you get one of them made.
Right.
So
That's how I would look at it.
Laurie, you can use a blue stamp and counter deed that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She can still use the blue, couldn't you, Steve?
Stamp it with the blue one. Count and do a counter deed DSI back to them. As the trust.
What an example of a DSI. Have you got an example of it?
And Laurie, I think as well, if you was to write to, like say, the Lord Chancellor or whatever else, I think you'd be able to use the green. You just can't use the red. Because the green is just the Great Seal of the estate. And obviously you know that when you write to them people, it has to be stamped with the green.
Yeah.
You can use a blue one, Aaron.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She could stamp it with the blue and the green if she was writing to the Lord Chancellor, but you just can't use the red until you they're made.
Yeah, because red's the general executor, isn't it? Yeah.
You know, a lot of people on this meet don't understand what we're talking about when we're talking about the stamps, because there's only a few.
I understand that, Caroline. Yeah.
Yeah, very few of us are in Steve's trust, so.
It's just that Laurie is, and we're trying to just help her out here a minute.
Yeah, she does need the help. Yeah, I know.
That's all.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to know.
Of a DSAW, Steve.
Sorry?
But have you got an example of a DSAW?
Yeah. Plenty of DSAWs, yeah.
We're DSAW'd out, aren't we? We do it all the time.
Mark, could you post one for everyone's consumption that's been
I
sanitized?
get where Carl's coming from as well. You know, you just got, I think, ask them basic question as well.
Leslie, can you post a basic DSI so everybody can see one? Some people on here haven't seen one.
I mean, you can sanitize it and take all the personal details out.
Yeah. But the different DSIs depending what you want to, what it's pertaining to. You know what I mean?
All right, Leslie, you're on mute. Leslie.
Did you want the DSAR for the bank gyro credit slip?
Yeah,
I would appreciate that one. Yeah.
Well, Leslie had one. Leslie, sorry, Laura. Sorry, I've just covered up your name here. Now hold on a minute. Laurie did one for the gas people. Is that right? And I just wanted one in relation to that. I mean, I guess once you send a standard one, it can cover different things, right?
Yeah. Well, it depends what you put in it. There's different laws and everything you put on them, and it depends what you're asking for.
So it's Mike's gave me some little information here quickly. It's a data subject access request, right? That's what DSAR stands for, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm going to do that directly. I'm going to do that for my electricity, definitely. I'm going to,
Yeah, well,
they're just playing on the fact, right, that they can just continuously charge me whatever rate they want to charge because it's on a key. You know what I'm saying?
Daniel, you got to understand is when you're asking these questions, your questions that DSAR is relating to your data. So certain questions that you might want to ask might fall under a freedom of information.
If you're going to do a DSAR, Daniel, go on to Debtless and read up on it first.
Debtless.
Debtless.
Did you say debt list? Is it
Debtless?
Less. Or less.
Debtless.
It's got a hyphen in the middle.
Yeah.
On Facebook.
It seems though like Steve's just trying to. I don't mean you, Steve Bullen. Sorry, Steve, the guy on Debtless. It seems like all he's trying to do though is to take money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I've mistaken, but that's my understanding from what I can see. So, and we'll give you little snippets, but then you've got to get them to give you the information that you're asking for. So they're charging.
Yeah, but it's a good place to go and start to learn how things are working there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Excuse me.
Cool, thanks.
Guys, I just got to shoot off for a while. I'll probably be back if you're here.
Thanks, Carl.
Later.
Oh.
We could end it now.
Yeah, it's 5 hours. Sorry.
Yeah, we could end it now.
It's been very good.
Yeah.
I'll send round a copy of that DSAR with the recording and the chat file so that everyone's got that, and also that PSC regime that Steve Bullen was talking about. So you'll get documents with the recording. Yeah.
Lovely. You can do that in Telegram or in Signal.
Well, if I send it as an email to Carl, he can send it on to the contacts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Also send that thing for the World Service Authority, please, Leslie.
Yeah, that's in the chat file, then that'll come with it as well. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Leslie.
No problem.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Hello,
everyone.
everyone.
Nice to meet you all.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Sorry, Steve trying to say something.
Leslie?
Yeah.
Okay, see you later. Bye.
Is everybody on here in the group? Is this a group?
Certain information you can share.
It is a group that Carl runs.
Are we all in it, or do we have to?
I can't hear you. Sorry.
Do we have to join it because we've only got on this meeting when you passes it?
Yeah.
Would a regular in this group or not? Or
It's that number that you keep track of.
Let's see.
I don't know who's
Using this one.
Mute everyone, Leslie P. Can you mute everybody, please? Because this isn't.
Yeah. Hang on.
Fabricious, it's you.
No, I'm getting hot. My damn mosquitoes.
Right. Okay. So, Steve. hang on.
sorry, yeah, Leslie. How do we join this group?
Right. Carl's got a Signal group that if I pass your emails to him, he can set you up as part of the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called Saturday. It's just called Saturday.
Saturday House. Yeah.
Is it a regular group or not, or is it every week? Or
We've been meeting every 2 weeks in person, and this is the first time we've moved to meeting by Zoom. So I think every fortnight or so is the plan, is it? Is that what people?
We're going to meet in person every 2 weeks, and at the beginning of the month, the first Saturday of the month, and the second Saturday or 2 weeks later, we do a Zoom. So once a month we do a Zoom.
Yeah, well, I won't be able to meet him in person. I'm up north, aren't I? And you're down south.
I mean, I'm in Nottingham as well, though, Steve, but I join on the phone.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
no.
yeah. Well, and we might be able to set up a camera or something like that. We're going to try and work out set up a camera.
Yeah.
We just didn't know if anybody would be interested or would think it's a load of bollocks and stuff like that. Do you know? That's why
No,
I did tell everybody about it, and it's not because I was trying to hide it from the other group, but I just didn't want to. I wanted to see if there was going to be some kind of.
Yeah, no, I think we've done all right today. You know, we've all learned a bit.
Did you think you understood? Did you understand the whole?
I understand the concept, but there's I have a few questions in the background. I think the going limited is all right, providing you've no charges on your properties are out, because once you've gone limited, they can't come and put a charge on you. I understand that, that's not a problem. But the problem is, in my position where I've got a charge on my property, they're just going to ignore the limited bit and come after the property in the original name, you know. The fiction.
Sure, that's what I think Carl was saying, that they actually can't, and I don't know because we've gone there. I mean, I'm very interested in what Michael says now. You're thinking that the trust is a better way than the limited, rather. And I was toying with the two, whether to go limited or trust. I've gone limited. I wanted to see what's going to happen, but from what Michael was saying, I might have to rush back into it, put it back in the trust. I know the trust works.
Based on today that I've been thinking. Plus, I spoke to my accountant friend as well.
Yeah.
Well, not spoke to him, sorry, but he sent a, you know, of course, I did some email communication with him, and that was his response.
I might have to do the backward slide.
I think it depends what you're trying to achieve. So I think if you're like I'm going to say normal person, right? Your bog standard person probably just has one property that they live in, and that's it. It's not an investment or a money earner, if you want to call it that. And so for them, they could probably do the limited company thing, put their asset on or in that limited company, and that would be fine because it's dormant. For somebody like Caroline, who if you're renting them out and making an income, then you might want to set up a separate company, pay an extra, pay another 12 quid and register another company, but it's still not in your name. It's not in your, like Caroline, whatever limited name. It's in a different name, so they can't come for you personally, other than whatever your liability is share-wise, so like £1 share, yeah.
But I think trust is still the best way to go, Laurie.
Yeah, I mean, for that, it could be for the business side of stuff, yeah. And what I was going to say that what Steve was saying about having the charge already on his house, it might go away, Steve, because once you become the limited company, you can rebut what they've already done, because all that they've done is worked on an assumption presumption. And if you come forward with this limited company, that will rebut the presumption of what they've done.
I understand that, Laurie, but I'm halfway through getting rid of it anyway. And I think I can get rid of it anyway. And then I'll decide which way I'm going to go then.
But if you don't get rid of it, that you've still got the option of doing limited and fighting it from that angle.
I'll get rid of it, Caroline. Don't worry about
that. Okay.
Have you got some secret way, have you, Steve?
No,
he doesn't.
I'll show everybody once I've done it.
All right, brilliant.
Good one.
Caroline, when you just said that you might have to change your limited company, couldn't you just set up another one and then put that in your limited company as the person with significant control? Because this is what they do.
Yeah.
And then when you go to the one that you now set up, you could fall under that as person with significant control. Do you get what I mean? Because you just it's like an umbrella within an umbrella type thing.
Yeah.
What
do you mean? Say it again, Aaron.
So basically, you got your limited company,
right?
Yeah, that you're using now, yeah. But you're saying you might have done that wrong. You might need to change it.
No. You weren't here earlier. What I've done is that the properties I've now changed. I had them in the trust before, and I know that had worked, but from Carl's thinking, the limited company is stronger than the trust. So I've applied to Land Registry to put the properties in the limited name, in my limited name. So now that Michael is saying he thinks that the trust is stronger, I may have to take it out of the limited name, put it back into the trust, because I know the trust does work.
Caroline,
yeah.
I put a text message in, a chat quickly on what you are just talking about. I know it's regarding the earlier conversation, but it's their maxim that, I think it's 1875, I can't remember the actual year, but in all matters concerning equity and common law, equity is going to prevail.
Right.
That's their maxim.
Yes, yeah.
In all matters concerning equity and common law, equity is going to prevail. In other words, they're trouncing common law in this case. If you're in front of their courts, they're going to trounce common law.
They're going to trounce common.
What does that have to do with the situation?
In other words,
the assets into the company as opposed to leaving it in the trust.
No, I think that's just backing up what you were saying, Michael, about the trust is more safe. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah.
So that's just backing up what you're saying as far as they're concerned. Equity prevails over common law. That's just, I thought I just saw it in there. Sorry, go on, Caroline. You were...
No. I hear you. I didn't get that. I must have missed it when I changed phones. So, okay.
Okay.
All right. So you're of the same feeling as Michael then, that trust would be a stronger position to be in.
Well, I'm wondering also if you put the property as the asset of the company and somebody did decide for whatever reason to come against you, that puts the property at risk, doesn't it?
Well, no, because they're coming against the implied company. They haven't got a contract with me.
No, but if it did cut up rough in any way, is all I'm thinking, that a trust is safer from that point of view because it's in the private completely.
Don't know. I thought about it long and hard before I actually made that decision. So now I'm going to have to moonwalk, and I think.
But again, Leslie, if they come for Caroline through the company for the assets and they don't have a contract with the company or with Caroline, as in the woman, then how are they going to come for her? So she'd still be safe.
Yeah, but it's what they're doing in the background, Laurie, isn't it? That's what you've got to do.
Has to come out in the light. So, yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is by making it the private limited company, they have to bring it forward. And with the trust stuff, they don't always have to bring it forward because it's not registered anywhere. And there's no real audit trail of what they've done. So that's why I think maybe Carl prefers the company way, because then the documents have to come out, because when you start looking at the trust stuff, you find out that they don't have to actually give you a lot of the stuff that you want because it's a trust. It's not a contract.
Yeah, that's right.
Good point.
Yeah, but they don't
have to come forward.
Deal with you, can they? That's why.
No.
So they can't come after you. They can't come after a trust.
Can't come after a limited either, can I? Because before I was implied, but now I'm actually expressed. They have to show the contract they've got with me.
Maybe it's just a preference, what people prefer to do.
Well, I mean, you get
But Steve could do that as well then. Because Steve's is with the implied, it's not with the expressed.
That's what we're saying, but Steve says he's got a method. He's going to get out of it. That if he doesn't, there are other people who've got some problems, and I think that might be their way around it. Let's see. But it's a good meeting. I'm going.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Listen, if anyone wants a recording copy in the documents tonight, just send me an email to that address I've put in the chat, and I'll send it to you direct.
Thanks, Leslie.
No problem.
Thank you. Thanks for setting up, Liz. Appreciate it.
It's been really good, and it's great to have a cross-fertilisation of ideas going on here. It really is.
Yeah, I think that was very good, actually. Yeah. 'Cause,